Previously on Teen Mando Squad.
I really want everyone to be nice to each other.
Twitter is no place for a mighty warrior. Cancelled!
But Pedro Pascal was comparing all Trump supporters to Hitler! Teen Mando Squad! Din Djarin, Grogu, Grief Karga, Cara Dune! Listen, gals, ever since I took off my helmet, you're a Mandalorian. No more! We've got to retake Mandalore! This is so the way. We three can go to Mandalore. Gina, you can go to hell. Or the Daily Wire. Before we go, how about we get some help from Bo-Katan? I bought you the Darksaber.
I don't want it.
Oh, my marketability! We'll worry about that one later.
Meanwhile, at the Daily Wire.
I'm gonna make a Western. Okay, gals, let's get ready to get so baptized.
In the waters of Mandalore, specifically.
Kathleen Kennedy brought me back. I've freed myself from the corporate overlords.
Haters.
Our ratings are totally low rising. True that. True that. What's your problem? You fired me? This is the way. Now let's alienate the fans we have left. Ready? Luke is by! I'm glad I'm out.
But next time on Teen Mando Squad. Or, the Book of Boba Fett.
I'll finally have my own show. Oh no, I've been sidelined. When you fall in a Sarlacc pit, you're slowly digested over 1,000 years.
Ooh. Doesn't canon mean anything to these people?
I bet you thought I wouldn't be in season 3.
Senior prank. Did you like how IG-11 sacrificed himself in season 2?
I liked that.
Senior prank. We hate Star Wars fans.
I need a droid I can trust to help me explore Mandalore. And he's that droid.
Technological romance.
A little help down here? Maybe some blue milk? Or my jetpack? I guess I'll die.
It's over.
My dad could beat up your dad. Let's have a laugh.
In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing your team?
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Radical.
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. This is Best Gen, the show where nerds complain about nerdy things. It's called Best Gen because we all happen to roughly be from the same gen, and we happen to think that it's the best. Not because we as people are better, but because our entertainment was. So prepare to wax nostalgic as we reminisce on the golden days of yore and have to talk about the crap that's currently airing. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We know you have your choice of entertainment tonight, and instead of choosing the Oscars because you're smart, we thank you for watching Best Gen.
F
Very obvious
the
quality
Oscars. F
The
the
Oscars tonight?
Oscars.
Yeah, the Oscars is
Apparently,
Wait,
I think-
didn't Will Smith slap? at
what
the
year
Oscars?
ago?
No, it got-
Yeah.
It didn't. I don't even think they banned him from the Oscars. They banned him from being able to receive an Oscar. For
No,
like
it's the other way
5
around. They banned him from the ceremony, but not from being able to be
Oh,
nominated
yeah,
and
yeah.
receive an Oscar.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's whack.
So that's been a whole
Yeah.
year.
It's been one
It's been a
year.
year.
Yeah.
It's been a year since the Will Smith slap. The slap heard
Wow.
round the room because no one was actually watching it live.
Yeah.
Wow. No.
You gotta believe that that's like made up or something because
No, I think it was pretty real. Chris Rock just came out with his special, just tearing into Will Smith.
did you watch the whole special? It's
Oh,
so good.
I didn't. I haven't seen the whole thing yet, but I saw the clip and it's just like, oh, it's so funny.
Jesus.
I saw that it came out, but I haven't
Yeah.
checked it out.
It
You gotta watch it, but it's a little bit woke. There's parts where you say, okay, this guy is a lefty, obviously, and it's annoying, but the rest of it is based. So
If
it's a,
If
it's a
it
good
was
show.
staged, Chris Rock wasn't in on it. You know, the producers might have known beforehand that hey, he's gonna
I
tell
still doubt it.
he's gonna
personally.
tell a joke, and or Will Smith might have planned, hey, my career's, I don't know, I need to do something, but yeah, I don't think it was staged.
For me, it's like, okay, the only thing that we remember those Oscars for is that, and probably the only thing that we remember from the Oscars, like for 5, 6 years, maybe 7. Like, else do you remember? Like when they effed up the name of the
Land,
winner.
Moonlight.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Moonlight, yeah.
Yo, I never cry more about a best picture winner than the time that La La Land almost won. I was raging. I got an ulcer, probably a peptic ulcer, probably for that, yo. Oh my god! And thank
Was
God
it-
it was Moonlight. Like,
Was
he
the
was better.
Oscars- Was the Oscars when Ricky Gervais did his thing?
No, that
No,
was
that-
the
Golden.
It's Golden Globes. Get with the times, Corwin.
Sorry.
Same thing.
I
like,
don't give a flying.
You asked
crap.
the same question like 2 weeks ago.
That shows how much I care.
I remember because I
Okay,
just
I should
edited I just edited that conversation into a short.
Shows how much I care about the producers and the actors and actresses
obviously.
Mhm.
drivel that we get in today's society. I don't. I can't express that enough.
Yeah. Well,
None of us care, but we care about the jokes.
you know, it used to be, you know, these people used to be influential when all they cared about was entertainment. Like you had real movie stars that people looked up to. And nowadays everyone knows you're just going to get preached to, and it's always going to be the same speech because you're not allowed in Hollywood if you don't have the right opinion. And so it's so boring now.
Even people that I know that agree with most of those speeches are saying, enough, just stop. We don't.
Yep.
This is not the time.
Yeah, if you agree with the with the ideal, it's okay, but not with the people that are doing it, on the back of any worker or middle
Yeah.
economy guy, middle, what was it called?
I mean,
Middle
I'm
class.
not going to throw too much
Middle
shade
class.
because whatever, you got a platform, but I don't think it's productive. I don't think it's helpful.
Yeah. or give good advice, you know. Like there are stars in Hollywood that in Twitter they give good advice. They say go to the gym, you know, eat better, get some touch some
Like
grass, something like that.
Chris Pratt had a really good one a number of years ago where he had a really great speech. I think it was at like some teen awards or something like that. That really blew up and it was really awesome because it was positive.
Why don't they just start telling us about their latest stock picks? That's what I want to know. You know, they really want to be influential. Why aren't they like, hey, my company, I just decided to buy $1 million in XYZ stock. You all should do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, really follow Nancy Pelosi's stock moves if you want to make money, right?
Or do you think they're going to bring on like Nancy Pelosi or Jill Biden like they did last time for like the Emmys that they brought on Dr. Jill Biden?
I don't care. I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I don't. You think they're going to bring on a famous? They're going to bring on AOC, aren't they? You know they will.
Yeah.
If some drama happens tonight, I would believe that the slap was staged. Definitely.
If something else happens similar, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, oh, we are popular with the kids because someone committed assault. Allegedly.
If you want to watch stage slaps, just go watch some WWE. At least it's more entertainment.
Or
At least it has more entertainment value.
Or watch like what is it, Dana White's
Power slap.
You know? Yeah,
Power slap. Whoo, that is a dangerous.
Dude, that seeing the impact on that show, it's like it looks so much worse than boxing. Like I don't know how those people don't have permanent brain damage all the time.
Oh, the slapping? Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, boxing is like a sport for girls compared to slapping because you don't defend yourself. You just
gotta sit there and let some grizzly bear slap you in the face as hard as he can, like, and you pass out. These guys literally pass out every time they get hard hit, and then they wake up and they're like, all right, let's do it again. Like, oh my gosh,
it looks crazy. You want to know what's crazy is that and this just supports the argument of that, you know, people should govern themselves, and the more that government interferes, the worse things get. Is that boxing actually? I mean, you do get a lot of concussions in boxing, and the damage of concussions increased with the introduction of boxing mitts, of boxing gloves. They used to box just like wrapping their hands, and there were fewer injuries, or you know, surface level injuries happened a lot. But like life altering, this guy, his brain doesn't work anymore. Those injuries didn't happen as frequently. But with the introduction of boxing gloves, you're able to hit harder, and it caused more damage. It's like this desire for like to protect people from themselves ends up hurting people more. And the same thing happened with hockey. They used to have enforcers in hockey who they weren't good at the game. They were literally just on the team so that if someone on the opposite team picked a fight, they would swap them out. That person would go beat the crap out of the person who played poorly, and then they'd both be ejected from the game.
I mean,
and after they introduced all these safety measures, people are actually getting hurt more.
Well,
wait, that is not legal anymore? That was the only fun part of hockey.
look at
like all the pads in football and stuff. They've only led to more concussions because yeah.
You could only hit the
rugby looks like one of the most like dangerous sports ever, and it has the fewest injuries.
Yeah,
it's only like, you know, bruises and someone hits you with the shoulder, but that's all.
Well, as someone who's done amateur fighting for a long time, since 16, everything from boxing to MMA to jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, the boxing glove is not designed to protect the person you're punching. It's designed to protect your own fist, your own wrist, from breaking, because you're hitting so hard. And so all that energy has got to go somewhere, and all that energy goes into your opponent.
Yep.
It's not
And if your hands aren't getting hurt, you could punch more, right?
correct, and you can
Yeah.
punch harder. Correct.
I mean, I don't know about MMA gloves, but those are cool.
they're still somewhat the same. They're not quite as padded, and they have the open hand
Fingers, yeah.
so you can grapple, and the open fingers. There is some padding around the knuckles. It is not as hard as you would think. But notice how there's concussions. The concussions in boxing or the concussions in, I mean, even in football, for example,
Or worse than in MMA, yeah.
Are not nearly as bad as those that happen in, apart from dudes kicking and getting checked and their legs breaking. But as far as like brain damage type stuff, it's not nearly as bad as boxing, and it's not nearly as. I mean, look at John St. Pierre. John St. Pierre is one of the best MMA fighters there is, and he's retired, and he's getting older, and he's still great. Look at freaking Muhammad Ali after he retired. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, turned into a vegetable because. Anyway, yeah.
Wait, so with the hockey, like Wayne Gretzky was one of the greatest hockey players of all time, and he received less injuries than modern hockey players because of enforcers. So let us govern ourselves. It's similar to the free market, everybody. Capitalism's great. Anyway, so back to the nerdy stuff. Shout out to Mark Clark in the chat. We love you. Our channel member. If you want to become a channel member, it costs 99 cents. So you get access to emojis, a store-wide discount on all my merch, and a cool community. And Mark's lonely; he needs friends, so it's just $1. If you want to support me in more ways, there's Patreon and there's merch. But this has been a crazy week. There's a lot to cover. There's the penultimate episode of The Last of Us. There's the second episode of The Mandalorian. There's History of the World Part 2, and there's a whole bunch of news. David, you missed the intro video, didn't you?
I did.
You're gonna love it.
I did it. I did Teen Mando Squad. It was probably way too niche.
Nice.
But we can play it later on if you want to see it. But
You should also totally clip that out if you feel like that's something that like.
Oh no, it's going to be released tomorrow.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, I'll go back and see it. I'm
The
sad that I
inclusion
missed
of
it. I'm on
Gina
call
Carano
this week.
really
So.
made me happy.
The what?
The inclusion of Gina Carano really made me happy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
That was my favorite gag was when they introduced the team. There's always like a tagline with each one, and it was Din Djarin, which is not Boba Fett, and I already forgot the other. Grief Karga. Grief Karga was not Lando Calrissian. Grogu is not Yoda. And then Gina or Cara Dune was not in the show anymore. That was
The problematic one!
Yeah.
Cool.
Super.
I'll have to go back and see it.
It was probably way too niche. We talked about it last week, and they made me do it. It's homestarrunner.com. They used to make shorts that were super funny, and they made me do it at peer pressure. I stayed up till 6 o'clock in the morning making it.
Sounds like it was worth it.
I feel no guilt about this.
It's 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes long.
It's really well done. I quite enjoyed it.
It was so hard. It took so much time.
It's hard. It's hard.
Anyway, what do you guys want to talk about first then?
I think
I vote that
Carl
you guys
went
do a History of the World last because I can dip early because I didn't get a chance to get to it. So
History of the World last?
I think we should do Last of Us first because Corwin's here and I want to get his takes on it because he's played the video game.
All right. And Jared should show up in the middle of that discussion. So if you guys see him sometimes I forget to bring him in.
I don't know how can I see him.
I was going to say we can't see anything beyond what you bring in.
Anyway, Corin, you've been in and out, but I've been done with The Last of Us for a long time.
Yeah, usually when I can't tune in, I'll still listen to the show.
I was mostly done. Episode 3 was really like, oh, this show's not that good. And then I stuck around for 4 and 5, and after episode 5, I was 100% out. Like I no longer care about this show. I don't think it's good. Some people are still holding on hope. But it
I'm
seems like
still
it just
enjoying
keeps,
it. I have no.
it
real
seems like it
problem
just
with
keeps
movie
getting
problem.
worse and worse and worse. This week's episode, I will admit, was much better. I still just do not care though. Like Ellie is horrible. I don't care if she lives or dies, which is, if you know
It's a bit harsh.
the story, it's very important at the end, and I'm not gonna be rooting for her to live.
But she's gonna live, you know. It's like Galadriel. You are only expecting for her to get killed by a zombie or a troll or lava.
I think she's horrible. I think she's horribly acted.
Logic.
And I think she's horribly written. The way that she's written is like she's not a good person. She doesn't deserve the choice at the end of the game at this point.
And as someone who has played the game, and I thoroughly enjoy the game.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite ones. I agree with that. The problem with her character in the game, you do feel, and they do an excellent writing job. You do feel and I'll buy it on PC, Alan, and you can play it.
I'm going when it comes out, which is I think next month or something.
Yes.
I'll look it up. I will play it on PC. The problem is though that it's the remastered version where they made Ellie ugly, but it's still mostly the same.
Give it all of 12 hours, and there'll be a mod on Mod Nexus
to make her pretty again. Okay.
Yeah, to make her what she was supposed to be.
Right.
And that was really important. That's the thing that they kind of messed up a little bit as well.
They did the same thing with Zero Dawn too. They between games they just made the lead just horribly ugly.
They made Aloy look like a freaking caveman. Yeah. But
like
seriously,
the left has killed feminism. Feminism isn't a thing anymore.
They've taken it over and they've turned it into something that it's not, that it shouldn't be.
When you can't tell me what a woman is, you can't have
exactly. Define womanhood, or you can no longer a woman who is feminine, who wants to be feminine, is frowned upon. I thought a feminist was about letting a woman do what she wanted to do. But anyway,
sorry, I interrupted your last of us.
Political. Going into it, and they kind of messed this up again with their wokeness, and again trying to cast people. I have no problem with Joel's original daughter in the show.
Yeah, even with the race swap, she was acted so well that I liked her.
Very good.
Yeah. I would trade for her in a heartbeat. I wish
the race thing is kind of important in the game, because Joel attaches to Ellie because Ellie does look like his daughter. You see a picture of him and his daughter. Yes. Ellie looks at it, she sees it, especially, and she looks very similar to his daughter that was killed.
Bro,
and they're about the same age. And so when you do that race swap, that takes away a little bit of the reason why Joel, if they would have found another black actress to put in there, I think that would have been more appropriate, just to kind of keep that little detail alive. But as far as to mention what you said, Alan, it's true. In the game, you love Ellie. In the game, you really do. She grows on you. You like her. She makes super witty, funny comments. And I feel like the comments they're having her make in the show are very derogatory, for lack of a better term. She's always putting things down or making fun of Joel in a derogatory, put down sort of way. Whereas in the game, she does.
We need a term for it. It's the Galadriel, and it's happened to Galadriel. It happened in Willow. It happened in this. It's that same. It's the same. Like, I can't have these women show any form of affection towards the opposite sex. This is what power is now. It's just having this person always be right and hate everyone. It doesn't make any sense, but it's the trend now. It's the Galadriel effect.
And I don't know, she's. I know she makes some comments that are making fun of Joel, but I never felt like it was really tearing him down, because she does attach onto him. She really shuts down everyone else.
But we don't attach onto her.
And I get that. I think that's going to be a personal thing, because I think there are a lot of people who are attaching onto her. I'm attached to her well enough. Maybe not as much as they want or as much as others might be, but yeah.
Yeah, I do see what you're saying though, bro. I think that in the first 2 episodes, especially, she was very standoffish. She was acting like an immature teenager brat and swearing a bunch, and she still swears. But I think as the episodes have gone on, especially I think in episode 4 is when it started, her dialogue got a lot better, and I still see what you're saying. But I
think strong women should. I think strong women should be kind. That's the kind of woman that I look.
Everyone should be kind, but
Yeah,
I agree.
I don't disagree with you there. Yeah,
I agree, but I don't think like she's still cussing and swearing and being really rude to people.
It makes her look. It makes her look weak. It doesn't make her look strong.
But
it makes her look pathetic and sad.
But in her relationship and her talking with Joel, I think it has improved, and I think they're showing that she's warming up to Joel. She's not cussing him out anymore. But yeah, she's cussing out other people that she comes across because she doesn't know them yet. She hasn't opened up to them yet. And I do agree with you. I wish she would be more likable in her dialogue, in the way she communicates. But I think it's gotten better as the show has gone on.
Yeah, but it's
Corwin was just getting to a point and we lost him.
Oh no.
It's still
he's driving home from work.
Okay. No worries.
I'm sure he'll hop back on in a little while.
Yeah. It's still in the games.
This is sorry.
Okay.
Before you start that point, this is a really good comment. Like, Joel can be standoffish and grumpy, but he's still kind at heart, and that's the real difference. Like, you can have moments of bitterness and rage where you show like the anger inside you.
Yeah.
But it's redeemed by the moments where you see him be human. And I haven't seen a single human moment from Ellie.
And I disagree. I've seen some human moments from her, and I do think that for her it's immaturity, and I accept the fact that that's a weakness in a character that I can get behind the fact that she's not.
That's different though. Like I know people who are immature, and that's not how she's acting. She's written intentionally offensive. And that doesn't chalk up to immaturity to me. That chalks up to bad writing because this is empowering.
I mean, they're probably trying to do exactly what they did with Galadriel and with Kit.
It's the Galadriel
remembers me more of Kit.
All of those immature.
Exactly.
Not just young, but like immature. But yeah.
Exactly. And
okay, you're right. It is immature. I thought you were saying, it's because she's young.
And I think that being young is a piece of it for her, more of an excuse than like Galadriel has in that situation. And I would think and hope, and I think that I've seen enough glimpses of some goodness in there to think that she might be able to grow out of it, especially with someone like a Joel around. But I see where you're coming from, that it's not it's more, it is right on that edge there. And I think I'm not as prone to being like, how dare you? I don't know, because I don't have that attachment to the game, and like that's the other thing. Corwin had a really good point about.
I don't either. I haven't played the game.
You true, but in the game you do attach to her because of the similarity she has with the daughter, and I think for me it's interesting to see how he attaches to her in spite of their differences, because there are other underlying similarities, even though a lot of them are covered up by this anger and this brashness that I don't think is great, but to me it makes sense that she could be like this, and it's cool to see Joel and her forming a relationship through and in spite of that, and in some ways he is softening her a little bit, at the very least in his relationship with her. So that's why I'm still liking it for the most part.
The problem isn't that people like this can't exist. It is believable that some people, there are plenty of assholes in the world. My point is that it's not that it's not realistic; it's that it's not interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I still find it interesting.
It's not endearing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know there are lots of people who are endeared to her because of that, and I don't love that, but at the same time, I recognize that there are people that are enjoying it for that reason. For me, I'm not endeared to her because of that, but I do still find it interesting, and I'm still interested, even though I'm not endeared.
But that's the point. This character needs to be endearing because of how this story ends.
Okay, well, I'll still have to see how it ends.
At the end, you need to be attached to this character Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I do have a question though, because I haven't seen it, and I don't care if there's spoilers. I haven't seen the episode 8. That was the last one that just came out, right?
Yeah, it's got the pedophile
Dang
guy
it.
that you were talking about.
Did
why
they
I
make
wanted
him
your-
a pedophile? Or
It
no?
was very, very
Kind of.
vague. There was
It's
like
very,
one
very vague.
scene. There was one scene where he put his hand on top of hers, and
Yeah.
Called it.
And he
Called
said,
it.
"Come."
Did I-
So my question
Yes,
for you,
yes,
though,
you
Corwin,
did call
is-
it was like it was barely implied.
He
Also-
almost made it sound like he was just saying we could work together as teammates, and then just barely hinted that maybe he wanted to be.
Yeah, it was
as
like a
his,
blink.
you
Like
know.
if you weren't like if you didn't know, you probably wouldn't know that he was.
You might not. Yeah,
Which-
not until the hand. Yeah.
which makes the end of this episode not as impactful because it looked like he was going to take advantage of her, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
But that wasn't
So-
really set up. Like that was obviously what he was going to do, but it didn't lead up
But
to that.
they-
So
they
it's-
A small adjustment to clarify, Corwin, actually, to answer to your question, that in the conversations that they have, there's it's very lightly hinted at, but in that final confrontation, he does very obviously climbs on top of her, tries to take off his pants, kind of thing. So like in the last second, so it's still a
it's
little bit
almost
more
played
obvious,
off
but-
though as a moment of rage. Like she's like shot him
Yeah.
and stabbed him, and so he's
Yeah.
like on top of her. Like it could easily be like, oh, he's just gonna strangle her. But
yeah, I think it was pretty obvious the other way around. But
Yeah.
I agree, but
it might not have been
because
where
they
it should have been.
downplayed
I
the
think,
think
yeah,
it
there-
was impactful as it could have been.
So my
anyway.
question on that,
he does
on
like
that
reach down and like loosen his belt. So like
So-
it's implied
but
he's
the
going
question
to do
on
bad
that-
stuff.
was that a man attempting to have sex with who he views as a young woman, or was it a man attempting to have sex
The
with
first.
someone who views her as a child? Because in the game, he is a straight up pedophile, and he lets her know that he's interested in her because she's a kid.
Yeah.
And there's again, I remember talking about this a couple weeks ago.
And you
When
predicted
you
that they were
going
gonna
to
soften
in the game, and you're running around. There's a few times where you're talking, the bad guys you're sneaking around are talking, and one of them's like, "Why do we put up with this disgusting perversion? Why are we doing it?" Like they're cannibals,
yeah.
and they're
Is
like,
he-
"No." So in the game, it is very clear that,
Is
and
he
they
a
make it very-
pastor in the game?
No.
Yeah,
that was my question.
Yeah, he's a
No.
pastor.
Yeah,
No.
He teaches.
I saw an article-
He,
I saw an article
preaches from the
beforehand.
Bible.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I saw an
yeah.
article beforehand that made me really worried, and then
What the
they
heck?
didn't play it up in a way that made it too much of a like, see, look, Christians are terrible. Because I was worried based on that article that was the message they were sending. I think they did avoid sending that message, but
Yeah.
it
So
was-
so
yeah.
he says
I called
he,
it. Did I
he-
not call it? I
Yes, you
called
did.
this. I said this is exactly what they're going to do.
'cause
and-
in his conversation with her, he's talking to her as like,
an equal.
you are like me, we are leaders, we are
Oh, gosh.
strong, we know how to do this, blah blah blah, or
They
whatever.
did
And that's
the
why he's
same
saying
thing that they did
that you should
with
do.
Captain Marvel in the Avengers movie, where they had Thor point out, "Oh, I like this one. The audience should like this character because she's really like." He goes on for a minute. You're such a good leader. You have all these qualities. I can see people following you. Meanwhile, the show has shown you none of those qualities, and you like who? What?
Called it. I called it 100%.
Well, you're-
And that's what disgusts me about it. It disgusts me about it because, and this is a theme that has gone on in a lot of Hollywood, and it's continuing to go on into Hollywood, and people have always written it off, and they will continue to write it off until it's, the conspiracy theory comes true. I mean, what's the joke right now? What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth? About 6 months. Like that's the joke going on right now.
The
right?
Babylon
Yeah.
Bee.
Right. The Babylon. Like what's the,
What's the difference between satire and reality? Just a couple months.
right. And so the
No, I don't know. I don't
Hollywood-
know why people aren't complaining about this more. Like, and I've said this on the
downplaying
show.
pedophilia.
Call Me by
Downplaying
Your
pedophilia.
Name won the Oscar.
No.
It is a movie about pedophilia.
And that with them,
What?
they always
With
I'm
downplay it.
flabbergasted that is not more talked about.
Call
They
me
are-
by
they
your name.
always
question?
downplay pedophilia. And I told you they were going to do this with the character
Yeah.
because in the game, like I said, in the game, it is extremely clear. Extremely.
Yeah.
And it's really
He's in a
weird
jail
too,
cell,
because-
and he's like, if you join, essentially, I can't remember that because it's been years since I played it, but she's sitting in like a jail cell type thing in a cage,
Yeah.
and he comes up to her and he grabs her hand and he's like, if you join me and you become part of my little harem group, I can save you from being eaten and turned into meat.
Yeah,
And she kind of like plays with him. She's like, Ellie goes, oh yeah, I don't want to be eaten. And she kind of grabs his hand and puts his hand like close to her mouth. And then she grabs his finger and bites off his frickin' finger in the cage.
There's a similar moment,
some of
but
those
it's
ideas,
not
but-
it's not played the same way.
It's
yet.
Right,
not-
but that's how
not
it's
as
played in the
intense.
game. That's
That
how it's
moment-
played in the
yeah.
game.
That moment is in the game, but the conversation is, "Hey, join me. We can
You can
rule
no.
this
The
cult together,"
conversation
or
is,
something, you know?
join me. You're such a good leader. You
Yeah.
can lead everyone because your character is so well written.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
conversation in the game
So-
is join me so
Yeah.
I can screw you as a little girl.
Yeah.
That is the and the fact that they downplay that because it makes Ellie so
Because they
much
don't
more
think that it's bad.
impact. Yeah, because I'll say that Hollywood doesn't think that's bad. We've seen it
does. They
time and time again with multiple shows, with Netflix, with what was that, with Cuties, or what was the name of that?
Cuties. Yep.
Yeah, Cuties. We've seen it multiple times. People in Hollywood and the people, the Harvey Weinsteins in Hollywood that still exist. Remember, Oprah Winfrey said Harvey Weinstein, all these other actors, Harvey Weinstein is the best person ever. He is amazing. And then when it comes out, he's a freaking pervert. Oh, we don't know him that good. No one's really dealt with him. We just deal with him. Bullshit. I apologize for that. Bullshit. That is utter BS.
It is interesting and weird
now
though.
with this, it's the same thing right now with this. With this, it's pedophilia, and they downplay it and downplay it and downplay it, and then it's going to come out that, oh, guess what? Yeah, half these producers and half these other people are involved in child pornography and child trafficking and all the sex crap that comes with it, and it's
And
disgusting.
they have the audacity to lecture us on morality. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And it's disgusting that we don't hold children more sacred. Now, to get to another point, and then I'll shut up and let you guys talk for a minute. It's more impactful in the game when Ellie kills him at the end, because it is a child killing a person who wanted to make her a victim.
Yeah, it
So
was
it is
very unsatisfying. in the
Potential
show.
victim. It's the potential victim killing the perpetrator, and she comes out stronger, and it shows that she is strong, and it's almost this adult that section in the game makes her an adult. It turns her into an adult where she has to take care of Joel, and she has a really big problem, and Joel's trying to rescue her. She deals with it on her own, and the victim becomes the hero. The victim becomes her own savior. And if they don't
play that
in that, if they don't have that twist in there, especially with the pedophilia part, and I know I keep hitting that, but that's a huge emotional twist for a child. They don't have that twist in there, it loses its impact. All right, he's a bad guy that wants he's a bad guy that wants her to be on his side, and maybe he wants to sleep with her, but it's not implied that it's because she's a kid and she finds out he's a bad guy, and so she ends up killing him. Whoop-de-doo. That's what every freaking hero does in every game, every book, every TV show. When was the last time someone who was a potential victim of pedophilia killed their perpetrator, or the person trying to?
Yeah, they tried to have that moment of payoff, but it wasn't set out. So
Yeah,
she does the thing where she keeps stabbing when it and it just zooms in on her face. It was supposed to be a huge emotional breakthrough, like you're saying, but it wasn't earned at all.
Yeah,
and I think it's lights the place on fire, stabs him, and leaves him. She doesn't kill him. She stabs him like twice, and he's still in the building, and he can't move because he's gonna die. And he's actually like, if I remember right, like something falls on him or something after she stabbed him, and he's alive. And he's like, "You need to help me." And she's
that
like,
would have been cooler,
yours, pal, and leaves him to burn alive. And you can hear him
better.
And she becomes a badass in that moment.
No, this one she just stabs him over and over and over again until like complete overkill, like 15 times at least. And then
which I still think taps into that idea of like just.
But come on,
yeah, it's fine, but it's just so telling that they downplay that pedophilia, right? And they insert this. Oh, how can we make him a weirdo? Because we're not gonna. Oh, we'll make him a crazy religious cult leader.
He found his faith in the apocalypse.
Well, and actually, if you listen to that conversation before, what he's actually saying is that he's realized it's a very useful tool for manipulating the people to follow him.
Yeah,
Not even that he's really saying he believes it. He doesn't come out and say like, "I don't believe it."
Yeah, I understood.
I understand that completely.
No, I'm just saying, like,
it's still saying, "Oh, he's just a crazy religious fanatic.
Jared,
using
that is
religion
the
to-
criticism of religion.
Yeah,
Is saying
that's
they
true.
only use it to manipulate the masses. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's very, very unfortunate and very telling. And like we've already discussed, it downplays that redemption moment. And
it still mostly worked for me. Although the part that I thought was really funny to me was just a continuity issue, because she lights the place on fire, right? And then she stumbles out the door, and a little bit of smoke puffs out.
Yeah.
And there's no you
Also,
don't see that the rest of the building is on fire.
Where was everyone
Everybody
else? Like this was a whole town.
Because
Like
Ellie kills a bunch of people, and what she doesn't know, and it's not a town, by the way, it's a group of renegades. There's no town, there's no women. It's just a group of savage men that band together.
There's a whole
this
group
one
of
got-
women and children that stand by and do nothing as their building burns down.
Yeah, no, that's not in the case.
They're not even in the story.
Savage men, and what Ellie doesn't know is Joel, which I know they show this in this show because I kind of read a synopsis, but it doesn't give me the details. Like he's a pastor and it just kind of gives anyway. What in the game, Joel is, you're playing it simultaneously. You start swapping between the two.
Yep.
And Ellie doesn't know that Joel has woken up because he's taken the antibiotics and he's back up on his feet. He doesn't know where Ellie is. He finds two people trying to find him. He tortures him. He gets the location, shows up at the location. And Joel, you're sneaking around, freaking killing all these guys, trying to get to Ellie. What Joel doesn't know is Ellie is sneaking around, killing all these guys, trying to escape. And then when the building lights on fire, that's when Ellie and Joel meet back up. Yeah. And Ellie's like freaking out that Joel's there. It's a great, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because that's the antithesis. At the end of it, you end up in Salt Lake City at the end of the game. There's nothing else apart from the ending, which I won't spoil. But that is the ultimate boss battle. That's the ultimate part of the game.
And it was one episode.
And why
we only knew this character for one episode.
And here's the other thing I've got with when it comes to what Bearded Jared is saying. Sure, it could have worked for you, but when you hear what really happened, which story would you rather have?
Absolutely, I can't disagree with you at all. Yeah.
And why are the writers, when you have gold, like you've been given gold, why are you trying to change something that is already an epic? It's not like you're adding, it's already epic. It's not like, oh, this was a silver script and we're turning it into a gold script because it's a niche and it's got a cult following. No. You were given gold. Why are you spitting on it and turning it into bronze? Why are you tarnishing it?
Also,
I can understand thinking that they're trying to take it from gold to platinum or whatever, but I can agree that they did not improve on it. Like from the sound of it, they didn't. So
the reveal that it's cannibalism was the most lazy thing I've ever seen. They put Ellie in a jail cell, and right next to the jail cell is the butcher table, where they butcher humans, and they left an ear on it, and she's it's cannibalism. I'm like, what? First off,
an ear? That's all they left was an ear?
Yeah, there was an ear sitting there with a knife.
You do get a better reveal for Joel. Joel gets a much better reveal of cannibalism. But.
Yes, it worked. Yeah, but they'd already shown the ear, and I was like, "That's what a crappy reveal." And it doesn't even make sense because the ear, that's all cartilage and skin. That's fat that you would put into the meat grinder with the rest of the meat if you're making ground beef. Okay, there are portions of meat that you turn into steaks and different things, but ground beef is a lot of fat and cartilage that's ground up to stretch the meat out, and especially in an apocalypse, you're going to use that ear
and internal organs.
Organs. Yeah, you grind up the organs and the cartilage and mix it in with like the flank steaks that don't have any fat, and then you get ground beef.
Or eat it by itself. You collect a lot of ears and you make you fry them.
Here, you could just fry it.
You put a little bit of pesto inside on top of it.
I bet ears taste good. Okay? And especially how they were depicting it, that everyone was starving, and that's the only reason. They tried to excuse the cannibalism too. It wasn't just like this is a group of sickos who do horrible things to people and they don't care. It was they only resorted to cannibalism because they had women and children who were starving. And Joel killed one of their guys, so they brought him home and chopped him up.
Yeah,
and it was
we're going-
only
yeah.
it was
Well, they-
only the religious leader and his couple of
It was
of
only
guys that knew about it, and they were just in their
No one else-
conversation.
the guy that she gets with the knife, the guy that she gets with the knife before, that's apparently Joel from the game. That's the guy who did the voice and motion capture for Joel.
I am worried about the future because if they are trying to play down cannibalism as well, what does the future?
I don't think they were trying to downplay cannibalism, but the main thing
They
that
downplayed
made
his
this
role
guy
for
creepy
sure.
was he was a cult leader.
Well, justify
And he also
cannibalism.
did cannibalism, and he also may have touched.
But they did
some-
try to justify it.
Yeah.
And-
One other thing that they did do with him that I thought was an interesting level of like vilifying him was where he smacked the girl that randomly when he comes in. That was like okay, you know, hey, you're really making him a messed up person there. It's not the pedophilia, but it's the, you know, it wasn't. It was more than just being, I don't know.
Again, it just came across like a power-hungry egomaniac that's just manipulating these people. It
was a very mid episode. It's probably the second best episode aside from episode 1, but I don't like the show. It's not good.
I liked episode 2. I thought episode 2 was really good.
Episode 1 and 2.
The
were really
ending,
good.
the
Episode
ending.
4,
Come
the
on.
dialogue was amazing, but not a lot happened.
I'm still overall liking it, but I agree. Like I can't argue that the game wouldn't have done it better. It doesn't do it better.
If you've got the PC to play it, Jared, I would highly recommend buying it.
Yeah,
I don't have a PC for it, but I do have access to some systems. Either is it on Xbox and PlayStation or just Xbox?
PlayStation. It's on
All of
PlayStation.
them.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It's coming
for every console except PC is finally coming out.
Okay, yeah. I currently have an Xbox One, but I don't play a whole lot of games anymore. I spend more time reading books or watching movies, and it's a little easier time wise. But
it comes out on Steam on the 28th.
Okay, I might get a hold of a PS4 that I could probably play it on at some point. So
I would highly recommend it, and I think once you see where it came from, I think you'll just be like, what did they do? What did they do to this? And I understand they want to put their own creative twists on it. I get that.
Well, some of these are the
even
creators
something
from
so
the game.
basic, for example, the ear thing on the table in the game, it's somewhat similar, but it's not an ear. It's a full freaking body.
Yeah.
And the dude is butchering it in front of her. He is
And that would have been awesome.
In front of Ellie. I think it's a leg or an arm or something. And he's literally, and she realizes it because it's a human arm, I believe, because she sees the hands, and he's carving it up in front of her while the pedophile, like one of the bad guys is carving it up while the pedophile talks. And he's like, they want to eat you, but if you come to me, like, I'll save you from this. And that's the trauma part. And that's when she's like, and that's why it's so crazy, because she's looking at it. She knows she's going to be eaten. Like, she knows it. And she still chooses to bite the dude's finger off and spit in his face.
Again, they get like 80% of that there. Just minus, like, take out a little bit of the pedophilia levels of it. They get 80% of it there. And so obviously it's only 80% as good as it could be. But like,
that,
you know,
that
they do
20%,
get 80% of it
that 20%
adds
it. That 20% adds that twist, right? I mean, that 20% or 10%, that goes from a B to an A if you're on a grade scale, right? I mean, that's
I don't disagree with you.
And that,
but no, you're absolutely right. That sounds. I mean, Joel walks into a shed and he sees humans hanging from the rafters. Right. That's like obviously, and they're skinned. You know, like obviously
that's
they're eating people. If you see an ear on the floor, your first thing is like, oh, they're eating people.
Yeah, that was an interesting
jump. Maybe you tortured someone. Maybe
it was on a butcher table.
Maybe someone died.
It was right underneath the butcher table.
You go right to. But you're eating people.
One of the best.
I agree with David on that though. Even
it could have
been torture. You know.
How do you know it wasn't?
Would have been a morgue
in a jail cell. That's a perfect thing. It's like, hey, tell me what I want to know. I'm going to cut your ear off. But no, she just sees the ear on the floor, and immediately she's like, "You're eating people," and he just like kicks the ear aside, and he's like, yeah, we're eating people, and they want to eat you. But you know, if you come and be a leader with me, then I'll make sure they don't eat you. And it's just like it's just the impact is just not there.
And that's so sad because in the game it is, like I said, that's what do you call it? Not the, what is it in the story? The height of the, what is that called?
Climax.
The climax. That's the climax of the game. And you've had ups and downs and valleys, but that is the climax, because the next part is what happens the next episode, and it's actually really pretty. They get to Salt Lake, they see the Salt Lake LDS Mormon temple. There's a giraffe that she feeds.
The giraffe is right there. Yep.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch, and it's very. There's not a lot until the very end, and then you've got what happens at the end, and I'm not going to spoil the ending. But as far as the combat part of the game, and as far as the intensity, that right there is the climax. That's the peak. And it sounds like
I'm also assuming that in the game, this character's around a lot longer, right? Like this is a big arc.
So the character in the game actually, Ellie, and I read the synopsis. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. In the game, Ellie actually meets the bad guy, and you have to fight off. It's like a defense part of the game, and you have to fight off a horde of clickers or whatever with it.
Yeah,
and it's just him and Ellie.
See no zombies in this show.
Oh no, yeah, it's a super intense part because he's there and he's like, "Hey, I've got antibiotics," and he helps. Ellie saves his life. Yeah, and that's how he kind of wants to attach to her a little bit. And he is a pedophile, but Ellie saves his life, and he's like, "Hey, I've got antibiotics," and she's like, "Well, if you really want to help me out, like I could use a little bit of the antibiotics."
She gets them. Yeah, she gets antibiotics from him for.
She does. Yep.
Right.
She does not in the show.
The group. She does. Nobody else in the group. It's just him. And he's the one that follows her. He's the one that wants to kidnap her because he's a pedophile, and that's what it comes down to. And so you have you don't know that he comes off as a really nice guy, and Ellie actually trusts him to an extent during that fight, because it's like you're with him in the game for like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
The first bit of getting to know him, you almost think you can like him. I mean,
right.
I had enough context to know that this is not somebody that we're gonna be liking.
Right.
But she doesn't like him from the get, because again, she's very much at this point she's only trusting Joel. She's very standoffish. So she's out hunting a deer, shoots it, and she's following it, and they come across.
She kills a deer with her first try.
Yeah. That's what happens in the game. She kills the deer. Yeah, which follows it, and in the show she comes across two people. It sounds like.
Yeah. Same thing with this. Yeah.
Yeah, in the game
she stays with the bad guy, and the other guy gets sent back to the town to bring
the antibiotics for her to use for Joel. Because he's like, oh,
and so they have a solo conversation while they're waiting for the guy to come back.
Yep. And that's the only moment where you kind of trust the guy. And then as soon as the guy gets back with the antibiotics, Ellie's holding up the guy at gunpoint and saying, "Give me the antibiotics. I'm out of here."
She does that in the game, but it's with him after because he's trying to convince her to. I can't remember all, but it's just him and her in the game. Yeah. It's just him and her, and he doesn't reveal that he's like the leader of the group that tried to stab Joel or tried to attack them. He's like, "Hey, I'm a group of survivors, and we're not raiders." And in reality, he's the evil of the evil.
In the conversation that he has with her is where he kind of reveals he's like, "Yeah, because we sent out 4 people to go scavenge this area of town or whatever, and only 3 of them came back because there was a guy with a girl that killed one of our guys." Like he reveals that, like, "Oh yeah, we figured out that you're with this dude that killed one of our guys."
I want to say that's in the game as well, but
it sounds like there's a lot of it that is there, because again, to what you're saying, they have gold, and it is some of the creators are involved with making the show, but they are wanting to do tweaks, and you have to. Some of that is adaptation, but it sounds like they just didn't quite. It didn't. Yeah, they got 80% of it or 70% of it, and it's.
Another thing that was kind of funny that I called right off the bat is the episode starts with the group of survivors or whatever, and they say, "Hey, there's no food. We need to go hunting." And they say, "Oh yeah, we saw a deer up there." And then it cuts to Ellie, and she grabs the gun, and I'm like, "Oh, I bet you she's gonna shoot the deer that these 2 incompetent hunters can't shoot," which of course is what happens. But I thought that was fine, because she makes the shot, and then she's actually surprised that she actually shot the deers. Like,
and it wasn't like we saw them trying to track it and failing and shooting it and failing, exactly. And then her doing it successfully.
But I just thought it was kind of funny that as soon as they said, "Hey, we got to track the deer," I'm like, "I bet you." I turned to my wife and said, "I bet you Ellie's going to shoot the deer."
So, Corwin, Mark Clark says the show would be a lot more interesting if we got to see you arrest someone on camera.
I watch an episode of Cops, and
I could call in a domestic if you want.
I'm off duty. I'm not responding to that.
I could start a fight with my wife.
I'm gonna call. I'll call Spanish Fork PD, and they can come take you. And I'm not bailing you out.
I believe I have a wife beater somewhere in my dresser drawer. So.
Yeah, I'm off duty. So nope, not my problem. I've dealt with that for days and days on end, and I'm off duty for the next 2 days. I'm clocked out.
I've had a week coming off of my kids being sick with colds. They all got pink eye this week. Yay! They're always sick. So.
Being a parent, that's one of the things they don't tell you is you're just these kids are constantly runny nose, snotty,
sick all the time,
sick, freaking.
But it's better now than later, you know.
It's true.
They get better immune system.
But then the poor little kid who's like, 18 months, 19 months old, crawling all over you with a nasty cold because he just wants mommy or daddy to hold him, and then he right in your face, and you're just like, well, I'm sick. Like, things are just.
I missed a comment earlier from Mark Clark, who's. It looks like we're pretty much done with The Last of Us, but he started a new book series. Robert Aspin. I've never heard Aspirin. I've never heard of him before, but it sounds interesting. I just finished reading Xenocide, Orson Scott Card.
Nice.
And I for all the praise that I gave Speaker for the Dead, and I just did the review on the channel. Xenocide makes Speaker for the Dead look like hot garbage. Xenocide it's so good.
Let me remember just to double check which one has what all Xenocide has in it.
So now you just need what's the last one is Children of the Mind, right?
Yep.
Children
of the Mind. Fríos de la mente de Cristo.
There are more books, but the original 4 were that.
Right.
Those are the original 4. Yep.
Oh yeah, and I know why it's called Children of the Mind now. Holy crap! The ending of Xenocide is nuts.
Okay, good. So you do have the World of Path going on there. That's one that I thought was really, really interesting, especially the reveals at the end of about the Planet of Path, the World of Path.
Oh,
cool stuff there.
The stuff on Path is the most disturbing thing I've ever read. That it made me sick. I was
wild.
Like, this is really messed up. And then the reveal is like, you bastard. Like, of course that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
How it's so smart. And it's like
so awful.
I'd forgotten about a lot of the stuff from like it's so far thousands of years have taken place since Ender's Game and Ender's Shadow. I'd forgotten about all of the messed up stuff with Bean and the genetic mutations and stuff with his character. And so this is that is such a perfectly natural progression, and it blew my mind. It's seriously good. Speaking for the Dead was awesome. It made Ender's Game look like crap, and then Xenocide makes Speaker for the Dead look like crap. It's brilliant.
And Children of the Mind. I'm trying to remember what else they've got in there, because that one has some really interesting theological concepts that it really dives into that I thought was really kind of an interesting way to look at things. And
it's gonna get interesting with what how the book ends. Like the stuff that they're gonna have to theorize about is gonna be fascinating in Children of the Mind. I haven't started it yet because I needed to get a Terry Pratchett book in between. I started Equal Rights. I'm halfway through that one, and it's probably my least favorite Terry Pratchett book. It's okay. Like, I see where it's going. I appreciate it, but it's just not as good.
Yeah. I also came across and was really rereading at one point the Enders series at a time where I was also diving into some weird, interesting theological deep doctrine stuff that correlates really well with some of the things that he explores in Children of the Mind. So that was quite fun.
Mark.
Cool.
Did I miss it?
Mark read Xenocide and didn't know that it was part of a series.
That's at least better than knowing it was part of a series and starting with the third book in the series anyway, right?
This is probably like the worst one you could have read out of order too. The ending won't make any sense.
Even Speaker for the Dead makes so much more sense on its own than
yeah. You could I could see starting with Speaker for the Dead, but no, I really love Xenocide. I'm super excited to read Children of the Mind.
So I've been putting all the Enders series on hold with my Libby audiobook app all week, and I've been kind of waiting on some of those to come through. And so I also put on hold and got a hold of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, since we were talking about those and the rest of the books in that series, as well as did you guys ever read My Side of the Mountain or Hatchet?
I read My Side of the Mountain.
Yes, so it's been a long time. That was one of my.
Is a Hatchet in the same universe?
It's not the same universe. No, it's a different author and everything.
But they were both the similar. Like, hey, a boy's going to go out and do man stuff in the woods and become. He's going to become a man in the woods.
Hatchet it's a plane crash, and he's like completely, not prepared for it or anything like that. Not as opposed to. My Side of the Mountain, where he goes out intentionally. My Side of the Mountain also ended a lot more like depressingly than I remembered it being, because it's basically like I went out to the woods to enjoy living out in the woods kind of on my own. Not that I couldn't be with other people in general, but like I wanted to be out in the woods. And it ends with his family coming to him and saying, "We're going to build a house and we're going to live with you here now." And he's like, "But that's not what I want." Too bad. And that's how it ends. I'm like, I don't remember it being that depressing. But I listened to all of the Hatchet series as well. There's Hatchet, and then River, and Brian's Winter, and Brian's Return, and Brian's Hunt, and they're really kind of interesting books, but they've been a lot of fun to listen to.
Yeah, Xenocide would be very confusing to read. Please tell me you've read Ender's Game since then, because
I wouldn't hold out hope.
This man is a psychopath. I don't get you, man. Anyway, super excited. It's really good. The last point I'll say on Xenocide is that I'm kind of glad that I waited so long to read the sequels to Ender's Game. Ender's Game really spoke to me when I was young, because I was bullied very badly. I was beaten up in elementary school for my religion, actually, and I was constantly bullied. And so Ender's Game was like that sweet, like it's about a kid who gets constantly bullied, but he's cool, and so I really connected with Ender's Game, and I connected with that story. And I don't think I would have connected to Speaker for the Dead and Xenocide at that age. I read Ender's Game in elementary school. I was in grade school, my last year of grade school, and then I read it like 30 times in middle school and a couple times in high school. I haven't read it since. I need to reread it, but so I really connected with that when I was younger. But now with where the story goes after that, it's very different. And being a father has made these stories like really impactful. Like it's heartbreaking.
Nexa has a kitty.
Because the sci-fi stuff that they're talking about is really just it's the context, but it's not what the story's about. The story's about family, and it's very effective. Like I was bawling I was crying a lot during Xenocide.
I am so surprised that since becoming a father, I am way more emotional at certain story beats that I like. I never used to cry at anything, watching movies or anything. Now it's like The Lion King, Mufasa dying. Oh my gosh, I bawl.
Don't be a pussy, man.
No, dude, I'm serious. Like it's just something about
I can understand watching The Little Mermaid and siding with Triton. You'd be like,
no, for sure. I sided with Triton when I was a teenager.
She needs a spanking, man.
But yeah, like these emotional beats just hit me so much harder now that I'm a father,
especially when they involve kids. I don't care about the other stuff. I am a very jaded individual. Alan can attest to this. I am extremely jaded. My job hasn't helped any. But when it comes to kids, I've always had a soft spot. But now that I have my own,
it changes things. It's weird.
The the stuff with kids and family is really impactful, which these two books are totally all about. But and apart from that, the one that always gets me is the noble sacrifice. The like, I'm gonna give up every, for the greater good thing, and there's and they do it in Xenocide, and it's like, it's so impactful, and it's like not even a thing that you would think that you would care about, but it's done so well. It's done so well. It's a little pig guy. It's a little pig. Okay, there's an alien race of piggies, and one of the piggies does a sacrifice thing, and you're like, why do I care about this? He's a little pig guy. Why do I care about him? It's beautiful though.
Hey, Martina, spanking, really? Hey.
Anyway, I'm really excited.
Per kid, I would just want to say, as my little girl, if you don't stop that, you're gonna get a spanking. She, like, if I say here, take away your toy, she'll do it. You're going to timeout, she does it. She doesn't care. If I say to her, you're gonna get spanking, you're gonna get swatted, instant stop. Whatever. Like, she had a habit of picking her nose like big time, and I'm like, all right. At this point, I was like, if you pick your nose, you're gonna get spanked. Instantly stopped. We're talking like months of instantly. My little boy, spanking doesn't work for him at all. He's like, nope. He's a dude. You can tell he's gonna grow to be. He's like, spanking. Yeah, to heck with that, Dad. Bring it.
Yeah, I'll spank you.
The hard part
away your toy. He's like, nope, about spanking. Throw away my toy. But the hardest part is the hardest part.
No, the hardest part is doing it hard enough.
Or doing it hard enough. I think the hardest part sometimes is doing
when you're in the arc,
doing something bad,
you feel
and
yourself
have to punish the bad behavior.
No,
but it's so freaking funny that you like. You have to be serious. Like, your wife's mad at your kid for something,
I hate that.
and you're just laughing, and if you laugh out loud, your wife's going to be pissed at you and the kid, and then she's going to take her anger out on you, and so you're just trying not to laugh, and you're just like, yeah.
No, the worst is when you're in mid arc of a spanking, and time slows down, and you're thinking, and you feel yourself pulling back, and you're like, but if I don't spank hard enough, then I'm going to have to do it again. And if I spank too hard, I'm going to feel like I'm abusing this child. But if I don't spank hard enough, like, the kid's not going to freaking learn. And it's the worst. It's awful.
Parenting's hard.
It is.
Parenting's hard. It's just hard. I found flicks work really good. Flicks. I've flicked.
Oh, I missed it. Oh, and Martina, come on. Yeah, I would have spanked Ariel, not sexually. She's like 13.
Mark got spanked with a wooden spoon too. I one time, no joke, dude. I one time got a wooden spoon broke over my butt, and it was an Oreo spoon, like the Oreo cookies. It was like a promotional spoon.
What? An Oreo spoon?
Yeah, it was a spoon that was like, it was a wooden spoon, and on the back of the spoon it was like Oreo. It was like a black with white Oreo. So it was like you bought it from the Oreo company or whatever, or got it from I don't know. Anyway, it was actually not my mother that did it. It was a friend's mother that I was staying with for the summer. I don't need to go into and I deserved it. I know I did. And I grew up in a family where, she called my parents and told them, and my dad said, well, you probably should have broke another one, and then he called me and was like, what'd you do to make Miss so-and-so so mad? Anyway, I had an Oreo tattoo on my butt. Just the word Oreo, it was on my left butt for like a month. I totally deserved it. But
goodness.
I don't think she meant to hit me that hard. I really don't. And I was older. I was not young. I mean, I was like 16. Okay, I was not a young person.
Just like Ariel, apparently. Yeah, as Martina's pointing out. I
was not a young person. Yeah. And she cracked. We were running around the couch. I was running around, and I thought it was a joke. And she was really angry, and I thought it was a joke, which was making her more angry. But then she ended up like swinging really hard when I stopped. So and she cracked it, and the head of that spoon broke off. She felt really bad. And I laughed. It didn't really hurt. I was just like, oh man, that was so funny. And anyway,
the other thing about discipline, though, like if you do it well, like, you don't have to do it often. Like I
correct.
I could probably count. Like I don't think I think it would take both hands, but like the number of times I've had to like actually like
discipline,
make it hurt. It sucks,
Twice.
but
Twice.
Anyway, back to nerd stuff. The Little Mermaid needed a spanking. and
Well, you know that all the little mermaids, that all the princesses are going to hell, right? We've talked about this
because of the immodesty, or like what?
Oh, I mean, like, just you name it. Like, you name it. Give me a princess. Name me a princess.
Oh, you said mermaids. Okay.
No, give me a princess. A Disney princess. Give me a Disney princess.
Okay. So, hold on. The Little Mermaid is vanity, no,
she sells her soul to the devil.
It's covetousness.
She sells her soul to the literal devil.
So the Little Mermaid's sin is covet. The Tinkerbell's not a princess. Cinderella.
Snow White.
Cinderella is.
Oh, Snow White. She never read the Bible.
She never read the Bible. She was
if
never
she
baptized.
would have gotten through page 1 or 2, she would have known don't eat the apple. But no. So he's gone.
I was like, where are you going with this?
Dude, she only had to get past page 1 to realize God created man and earth. Then he told Adam and Eve, don't freaking eat the fruit. And what does she do? Bad person. He was like,
Belle, bestiality.
Bestiality. Yep.
The Sleeping Beauty, sloth.
Mark Clark says Jasmine.
Immodesty.
Yeah. Immorality.
She goes through guys faster than a crack hole.
One way to look at it.
I will think about it. He meets her because
I like the part where she's stuck in an hourglass.
Oh, she's hot. There's no ends, ifs, or buts, but that's beside the point.
Anyway,
there's no beside the point. I'm just saying.
Let's move on.
Yeah,
that's interesting thoughts there.
Let's do some news.
The only one that is actually good is Cinderella.
Yeah, she's virtuous.
She's got hard work ethic. Yeah,
hard work ethic, and she's trying, and she gets saved by an angel.
So the Last of Us, we're not alone. The Last of Us is actually getting a lot of criticism for skipping major plot devices and not having zombies in it, despite its $15 million budget per episode.
Yeah, I've been a little I've been defending it a little bit with that, but I agree that they probably could put more of it in there.
I mean, because it's such a cool design. Why wouldn't you want to see that more?
Right. And I guess, like, honestly, coming from a game where you deal with that a lot in the game, and that's a big part of what drives the engagement with the game beyond just the story, and they're focusing on the story here. So I get cutting a lot of that out because it would get really repetitive in just an entertainment show if you're not the one doing it. But I especially by this point, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, everyone's criticizing it
a little bit more.
Everyone's criticizing it for not having any clickers.
Yeah, there were 3 episodes. 3 episodes so far had infected in it. The first 2, and then the one in the city where the big bloater guy comes out. That's it. Am I wrong?
I'll defend again the idea that
they also glossed over the main villain.
A bunch of it, but. Yeah, they should probably have a little bit more than they do.
I agree that not every episode has to have the zombies in it, right? But, I mean, it's a post-apocalyptic show. They've got to be in there,
there's
the
too
majority
many
of the
episodes
time.
without zombies. There's too many. Episode 1, I guess you could say there's zombies in that one because that's when it starts, right?
There are a couple of them where you see a zombie, but there's no, like, zombie encounters.
But it's not
there's no, like...
Well, no, in the very beginning when they're all turning into the zombies and they're trying to escape.
But it's not the unique zombie. It's not, and that's the thing that made The Last of Us unique, is it's a unique style of zombie rather than just regular flesh eaters. You don't have that in episode 1. You have it in episode 2. You get it in episode 2, which is really cool. I thought the fight scene between the clickers and Joel, that was so intense.
That was amazing.
I loved it.
Episode 2 is really, really good.
3, the only zombie you see in 3 is
through a camera screen.
On the camera screen when he looks at the one that fell into his trap and gets head blown. And it's not even, he's like, oh, okay. There's no other zombies. There's no nothing.
Episode 5 is the only other episode with zombies in it, and it's all dark, and you get a glimpse of a bloater, and it looks really bad. It was like really bad practical effects. You could see the seams in between the torso and the arms of the actor underneath, and he was just like hobbling forward, and he ripped off some guy's head, and it was very unsatisfying.
And then the next couple episodes don't even have.
I guess you got the little girl zombie who for some reason was a gymnast. and like did a cartwheel through
Little
the
flip.
it
I'm
was-
good with that. That was fine.
Yeah.
And
Oh no, there
the
was a
conflict
zombie in the flashback episode, but just again,
Yep, zombie in
one
the
at
flashback
the
episode.
very end.
And in episode 4, you did have isn't that the one where she goes down in the basement and sees the one that's buried in rubble and she
That's
like
the
so it's
same
there.
one. That's the same one that you have the bloater. So that one already
Oh, is it?
counted as.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, that one's
I was thinking it was a separate episode.
that one's 2.
It was
That
the
one's
episode
episode
before.
2.
Oh, was it?
Okay. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know.
episode 2. It's right before you get to there because they're talking about where they're going, and Joel's trying to find some supplies he left behind or whatever.
Yeah, and she
down
goes
and sees them.
downstairs.
It's episode 2,
Yeah.
but I can't really count that because you just see it. He's buried.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see,
No, I'm nitpicking there to say it's
show's
there,
boring.
but I agree with you that it doesn't really count for the.
yeah, it doesn't
like,
count. It's a zombie
yeah.
movie. It's a zombie movie without zombies. It's
Yeah.
an apocalypse movie without.
There's more news,
I've defended the show a lot about that so far in the conversations we've had because I get cutting out a lot of that,
I agree
but I
with
can
you.
definitely agree that they've cut out too much of it. They need to have a little bit more of it in there.
Even if this last episode they would have made it 5 minutes longer and had that scene where Ellie and the preacher guy now I guess are defending from a horde of zombies that have come in.
That would've been
Like,
awesome.
even if they would have had that would have been great. That would have been
That
phenomenal.
would have given you a reason to trust the guy.
Yes.
And have a couple of have like one of the other episodes start out with her and Joel like having just like finished going through an encounter.
Sure.
So have them finish up a couple of them, and then like literally you could add 30 seconds onto the beginning of the episode to show like as they're coming through these things, they're just finishing off.
This last episode would have been so much more satisfying if it was stretched out. Like if you slowly get to know this group of people, and then you slowly realize, oh no, these are bad guys. Like
It would have been so much better if you had that fight scene, you trusted him, and she went back to their community to get the medicine for Joel or whatever like that. And then next episode we have the confrontation. It just
it's like,
there's
there's more news, and I don't want to talk about The Last of Us anymore, but
let's go.
Daredevil Born Again is gonna suck.
Mm-hmm.
Shocking.
The main characters are not returning. It's not going to be the same show. It's going to be a reboot entirely. So
I really like both of those actors though too. Yeah, that's a
I
bummer.
know that stinks.
The guy was so funny.
The dynamic between the two friends was so good.
So great.
Yeah.
And
One of the
Deborah Ann Roll was amazing in it too.
Yeah.
The only one I did not like Elektra in the Daredevil show, but
She's fine.
I don't even remember who played Electro.
I don't like their relationship.
Oh yeah.
Because Deborah Ann Wool is better.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's gonna suck. But don't worry, because Shazam 2 is going to make sure that we know that Pedro's gay. Something that was only hinted at very subtly in the first movie, apparently.
It was. Huh? I don't care. Sure, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't even see it, so I don't even care.
No, I like the first
Shazam
one.
was really
I'm
good.
excited for this one, but
So it's about I'm not excited for Shazam 2, but are you guys excited for the Middle Earth cinematic universe though?
No.
Yeah? We're gonna get
What?
Gandalf.
No.
We're gonna get Lord of the Rings.
No.
Gandalf origins. David.
No.
David, it's a meme. It's a meme.
Oh
okay?
yeah.
Okay, good.
Lord of the Rings. Gandalf origins. Shadow of the Hobbit. Tom and Goldberry. Withy Windlemania is my personal favorite one. Rise of Strider and Lord of the Rings. What if?
What if Rings of Power didn't suck?
Damn, it would have been
That's
good.
funny. I thought this was serious for a second.
No,
I
it's
was
not.
about to get real angry.
I have heard that Picard 3 is good, and I will watch it out of order. I am not. There's no way you can get me to watch season 1.
And I've also heard you can totally do that, and it's not going to fade.
I will. However, I will wait until it's done and to see if people are still saying it's good because I've been baited before. I've been tricked before. We've never talked about the whole Warner Brothers is making more Lord of the Rings movies on this show, have we? I think a lot of people had gut reactions, and they are right to be scared that it's going to suck. I think the key word in the interview was what was worrying. There was a fake article that was spread around saying that it's going to be woke and diverse and stuff, and that was a fake article. But what was worrying is in the initial announcement they said we're going to respect the past while looking towards the future, was the direct quote. Which could be a good thing, but it could also be hinting towards garbage, right? My thing on it, I think we don't know enough. It could be really good. I'm super worried about it. I would love it if Warner Brothers adapted the Silmarillion and just blew the pants off of Rings of Power. Like, they could make so much money if they adapted the Silmarillion right, and just did a bunch of short stories, right? Because that's all it is, right?
Like
just do an episode on this, and then skip forward in the future, do an episode on that. Don't try and make it like a story. Just tell the stories, okay? Like, man, people would like that. But again, it could be scary. And from what I've said, the things that we've seen coming from WB is worrisome. But if they wanted to, they could make a ton of money, and they could totally insult Amazon. And the last thing I'll say about it is that it goes to show you that I was right. Everyone called me a liar. They said my sources were wrong. Amazon does not own the rights. Everyone said they owned the rights to these books. They don't. They own the rights to the appendices from Lord of the Rings, from The Return of the King, the third book.
From the Silmarillion.
And it can only be a TV show. They can't make movies.
Wow.
That's
insane.
They got the rights on a technical loophole.
Well, that they paid so much for what they did get,
and it was a technicality. There was a reason why they couldn't even call certain characters by their names. They're not legally allowed to use the word Hobbit. They're not legally allowed to use the word Gandalf because they can only say what's in. And even some of it they can't say, but they're solely using the appendices from The Return of the King, which summarizes a lot of the events from the Silmarillion, but not all of them. It's literally just brackets of this happened on this date, this happened on this, and
it explains why it was just so all over the place and weird and changed. So
it doesn't explain why they were lying about it.
Why they thought that would be enough to be able to tell a story on. Why did they think that they would be able to take just that little?
Warner Brothers still owns the rights, guys.
But see, here's the thing, though.
Everyone, it's so cathartic, though. Everyone called me a liar. Everyone said that I was wrong, and I was completely right.
No,
all of the comments. You guys didn't read all the comments on my videos. All the comments were, are you kidding? Amazon has the rights to all the books. Shut up.
I love it.
If they had the rights to the books, I would have been even more mad at them for how awful they did. Like, I'm pretty mad about how they just did not do a good job with that.
And they kept saying, "Oh, go back to the books, back to the books." So, what books? You can't go back to them. You don't have the rights.
So here's going back to the WB thing, and I've got to log off after this. We already had The Hobbit, and don't get me wrong, the movies were entertaining.
Sure.
They weren't amazing. The first one was pretty good. The second one was, and the third one was even more.
All payoff with no setup because it'd been a year since.
Right. And the problem, we've already had WB make more Lord of the Rings movies, and one of the things that was very telling is they brought Peter Jackson in at the very end because they realized that these are just crap, and that
is one of the things with these new films. Peter Jackson is already involved.
Good, and that gives me hope because there's a scene.
He's not going to be directing, but he's going to be consulting on everything,
which is amazing because there's a scene from the beginning, which is what it needs to be. Because they brought him in, I believe it was the third one. They brought him in because they realized we are going to lose a crap ton of money on this. We're going to lose our socks. Oh my gosh! And there's a scene
for The Hobbit.
The third movie in The Hobbit.
I thought that he ended up having to come in for all of them. I know that he originally didn't want to, but I thought he came in for all of them.
They were going to be directed by Guillermo del Toro, and he pulled out for reasons at the last minute, and Peter Jackson came in to fill in for all three movies, but it was rushed.
It was very rushed.
Of The Hobbit, yeah.
And he also didn't want to do a trilogy, which is why Guillermo del Toro left. And he only wanted to do 2
So
one.
there's this
should have been two.
watch the commentary when how it was made or whatnot in the special. There's this scene where he actually he's very open about it, and they're in the set of Erebor in the Lonely Mountain, and Peter Jackson is there, and he's got his head in his hands like this, and he's just looking, and they said he was there for like 3 hours. No one was doing work, and he's just sitting there on set that they've built, and his head's just in his hands. And he keeps rubbing his face, and he walks over and he sits down, and he keeps rubbing his face. He walks to another spot, sits down, and then they interviewed him about it, and he's open about it. He was like, this was going to suck. And I was racking my brain thinking of any which way that I could make it work. I was just going through my mind saying, how can I make this better? How can I be proud to put my name to this? What can I do? What can I, in the time slot that I have with the production that is all done, what? And he just said, I couldn't, I can't. And because in the first 3 in Lord of the Rings series, there was very little CGI. There was CGI in it, but he wanted as much real as he could. And he's realizing he's like, I can't bring the value that I don't have the time. And anyway, if he's in it from the beginning, not bring this in and try to, because you have a passion for the project and try to save the already sinking ship.
Could be good.
If he's in it from the beginning, that does give me hope.
I think we definitely have earned the right to be apprehensive, but I think the naysayers are a little bit too early again. But then again, I mean, WB is making the dumbest decisions with DC right now too. So like, I don't know. I don't know if I should trust him or not. I don't know.
Time will tell.
Well,
we'll see. I certainly have more faith in this than Rings of Power. So
anyway, gentlemen, I'm going to log off real quick. It's been a pleasure. Have a great night.
Did you guys?
I'm also gonna. I'll be right back.
Okay. Did you guys see the announcement? This little promo thing that Star Trek put out.
They don't have Kirk on there.
They have the animated Captain from Below Decks, and they don't have Captain Kirk.
They have 7 of 9. They have some of the side, like the non-captain characters.
Star Trek is an embarrassment. Someone fixed it for him right there.
Yeah.
But of course, they've got their Star Trek Discovery captain head dead and center.
That's the newest.
They love her so
thing.
much.
So
it's the worst show that's ever been made.
I enjoyed the first season.
Well,
it was okay.
We talked about this before, but it's confirmed now that Kathleen Kennedy's meddling with Boba Fett and Mandalorian season 3 is largely the reason why it sucks. Favreau was very fed up. Is this his quote? Kennedy's alleged next move against Favreau was corrupting the Book of Boba Fett. She couldn't indirectly interfere with his production, but Kennedy is clever, devilishly clever. When she saw that Robert Rodriguez wanted to introduce the idiotic Vespas into Book of Boba Fett, and Favreau hated the idea, Kennedy approached the marketing department and got them to say, "Oh yes, we can sell those. Let's make it happen." She was also responsible for bringing Baby Yoda back for season 3 because it makes no freaking sense. Favreau planned to have Grogu go to train with Luke to become a Jedi. She also hates the fact that they kept using Luke because they're trying to distance themselves from the OG trilogy. They don't want people reliant on Luke. That was the only reason why season 2 was good, in my opinion, and they just reverted it. You could tell that they did have a plan with season 2 of where the show was going to go, and now it just feels like nothing like that, right? She got upset. Baby Yoda is the only thing. Baby Yoda is the only Star Wars toy that's selling right now. It's very true. They had a Kickstarter for Reva's lightsaber, and it failed miserably. Like it couldn't even get funded. We can't lose Baby Yoda. So Kathleen Kennedy, she sucks.
This is the article I sent you.
Okay. Yeah, you sent it to me.
Yes.
I have hope that I have heard she is supposed to already be, like, the plans are that she is done. She is going to be out. It's just a matter of timing and placement of when she's going to be out.
Unfortunately, we've been hearing those rumors for like 3 years.
Yeah,
so
I don't have any stock in those rumors.
From sources that are more like that tend to be more like, again, not that I know or have my own sources or anything else like that, but from people who are always like, these things are, there's rumors out there or whatever, and to me, it sounds like there's a little bit more credibility to these rumors this time.
Yeah,
I mean, it still could just be rumors.
So
still could just be nothing.
The thing that makes me so mad about this, and again, this is just a rumor, but the fact that it was Kathleen Kennedy that forced not only the stupid speeder bikes in Boba Fett, but also Grogu and Din Djarin being reunited in Boba Fett.
It's because she's bitter that every you talk to any people, anyone who liked Star Wars, and even the ones who are completely removed, some of them will still say, yeah, but Mandalorian is like the only thing that's left. So you can tell she's bitter that her plans failed, and the only thing that people liked from Disney Star Wars was the Mandalorian.
I don't think that's it, though. I think she's looking at it from a marketing perspective, and you say, hey, Grogu sells. We need Grogu back in here. But she's not thinking about the story, and in doing that,
but the speeder bikes was also like it was vindictive. Like she does
it's because
she does not like Favreau.
I think that's a marketing thing too. I think that's 100% marketing.
But you can tell that she's bitter that he's what's been successful and she wasn't involved in it.
I think there is some degree of truth to that, but I don't think the Grogu decision specifically.
That was pure money.
I think so, but unfortunately, she's not thinking.
That's
that
a problem.
From a
It's short-sighted. It's short-sighted.
It's very short-sighted. She's trying to get the most payoff right away, and it's not.
How much more money could you have made? If you got to develop Grogu as a Jedi, and then you get to sell Grogu you get to Grogu becomes a Barbie, and you get to put on his Mandalorian armor. And you get to customize his lightsaber.
I believe I've shared before with people this image that I've seen of like a grown-up Grogu as a like Jedi with a Mandalorian armor on. He's got the pauldron on, and it's like a conversation about him like talking to a youngling about how like we don't have to fear attachment like the Jedi used to, but we have to, with that attachment, embrace the fact that it will be lost at some point, but celebrate the fact that we had it. And the Padawan being like, well, that sounds really, really hard. Like that doesn't seem like that's the way we could do it. And he's like, no, that's not just hard. This is the way. And it's like a beautiful like merging of the best portions of the Jedi, the best portions of like getting rid of all the worst parts of the Jedi, while all the best parts of the Mandalorian culture into this beautiful thing that it's like you could have gotten there if you'd let him go and train to be a Jedi, and then realize that maybe there's some messed up stuff going on here, and I need to go back to my
down the road too. If you have a season of Mandalorian without Grogu, you can have him reunite at the end of the season or the beginning of the next season, and he's had a growth spurt. And now you can sell 2 plushies. You can sell, a little teenage Yoda or baby Grogu. You can the baby Grogu and then the teenage Grogu, like the Groot.
Yeah, and again, you would have such a great like this. The absence makes the heart grow fonder, and if you could, like the one thing that I do kind of get is there are so many people that were casual fans that were not Star Wars fans that did clue in just because cute baby Grogu, right?
Yeah.
And so I get not wanting to lose those people, but if you tell a really good story, you probably are going to be able to hang on to most of them or some of them. And then if at the end of the season or the beginning of the next season you bring in Grogu again, grown up but still you can lean into that cute, you can pull them in and get them attached to Star Wars itself. But then also if you need them to be pulled in, you can pull them in at the end. But it makes that absence makes it so much sweeter when they come in.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. And this is why it's so frustrating. And Jon Favreau says it himself. He says it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out with people that didn't see Boba Fett. They just watched The Mandalorian, and the last episode of Mandalorian, he leaves with Luke Skywalker, and then the very next episode.
You can tell that he had to throw in a line to explain it.
Yeah, but what's weird is that they didn't even...
Wait, I thought he was gone. He was gone for a time, but then he came back to me.
Yeah,
but the thing is, they also really easily could have done when they do their previously on. Because they're trying in some ways to treat Book of Boba Fett as just another, season of this same show, basically, they should have just been like, show a couple clips from that. They literally put out a video on their YouTube channel with the road to Mandalorian season 3 that had those clips in it. and they didn't put that at the beginning of the show. So like that's a decision that I feel like Favreau would have been able to put in.
I don't know.
To say, hey, let's just put these little clips in there to explain it, and they didn't.
We can get into it more when we actually talk about the episode. There's a couple other stories.
But so is this? So did you get the video?
Yeah, I got the video, but I was assuming it was a bad take. Did you guys see?
No. So okay, so going along with that, there was an interview.
Yeah, I got the interview.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Did you guys see this though?
No. Okay. I don't know. Whatever.
See, it's the.
Whatever.
I mean, for a mermaid, you kind of need to know how to swim.
They put themselves in this pot by race swapping the actress.
I don't think so, but
an accident slipped into
might or might not be able to swim. Like that has nothing to do with the race swap.
But here's the thing: if you're casting someone for a mermaid movie, wouldn't can swim be one of the check boxes that you need?
No, because it's fantasy.
Jared, you cannot tell me.
She's not an actual mermaid.
Jared,
it doesn't matter. She's not an actual mermaid.
They had to change the production on set. They were supposed to have water scenes that they had to cut and do with CGI because this actress could not swim.
But if she cannot well enough,
let me finish. You cannot tell me that this person was cast because she was the best person for the job. That's bull crap. This person was cast because she checked the boxes that they wanted checked.
So while I don't disagree that she checked the boxes that they wanted checked, I will also say you don't know the minds of these producers any better than I know the minds of the producers.
Yes, I do.
Oh, of course you do. Yes.
I know the minds of these producers.
Yes, of course you do.
It's the same
I think this is
story.
just such a dumb thing to bring up. Like it was unnecessary, but like this has nothing to do with her ability to swim. They would have chosen someone else that wouldn't have been able to swim too.
I don't know. I disagree because like when you cast somebody that says, hey, this is somebody that's going to meet, not only going to be able to tell the story that we're looking to tell, but is also going to be able to either perform the way that we want them to perform, or...
So then why do they have stunt actors?
Dude, Ana de Armas learned English so that she could act in a film.
Oh, yeah. All the better when you can, and all the better when you do. But, like, they have stunt people for a reason,
learn how to swim?
Because they don't have the actor do everything that the character does.
Oh, well,
I could. So, Jared, I could get on your point if that wasn't in the plans for the movie. If they're saying, okay, we don't need to have someone to swim, we can just do this with CGI, or we can work around it, whatever.
Well,
but no, it's saying they specifically had scenes that they were planning to do in water, and they couldn't do it because the actress that they got couldn't swim, and they didn't vet that out beforehand. If they were planning on doing that as part of the film, you need to have an actress that fulfills those qualifications.
And again, I think that it would have made a lot of sense to then teach her how to swim. But none of this has to do with the fact that it doesn't matter what race she is. Like, it just was, they chose an actor that they decided they wanted for whatever reason, be it because of checking boxes or because they feel like that she.
I agree that it doesn't matter what race she is.
Wanted her to do, but then when they realize that this person that they chose isn't able to swim, then you have to make adjustments. And
I agree. Yeah. It doesn't matter what race she is. My point is it mattered to Disney.
Yeah. No, I agree
what
with
race
you,
she was. And it didn't matter whether or not she could swim, which is a stupid decision.
Yeah. I think that it is also okay if it didn't matter to them that she didn't swim. So
I think it's retarded.
Well, here's the other thing, though. Here's the other thing to bring up is that, like, if like David brought up, if they're saying, oh, yeah, we don't need them to swim because we can just do CGI, that's a stupid reason, too, because you can't become too reliant on CGI. Like, that stuff is not only expensive, but, I mean, you never know if it's actually going to look right? So it's like, you can't rely
on almost all of it anyway, even when it is swimming,
I know, but you got to rely on people being able to act for the role that you chose for them to do. And if they can't do that, then you don't hire them.
And having not seen the movie, it's hard for us to say that, oh, she can't act,
And here's the thing, like, actors used to have skills. Like these people
and
used
if they
to
didn't have the skills, then they learn the skills. If you
exactly
were hired for
I can get behind you on that
karate
one.
movie,
being an
you
actor
learned how to
used to
do
be
the karate.
It used to be a respectable profession. They used to learn how to do crap. And now that's not Hollywood's priority anymore. Their priority is to preach to us. And it's garbage.
But if you didn't know that thing, then you learned it, right? They took personal trainers and they learned how to do the martial arts or the fencing or the.
And I'm with you. I think that they definitely should be doing that more with these people. I guess I'm just like I'm only like 30, maybe 50% of the way there with the frustration as to like what their motivations are, or even agreeing that that's 100% what their motivations are. I'm only 50% with you there.
I've just
like I get
you see it all the time. There's no possible way that couldn't have been their motivation. Like I'm done giving these people the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why we're like, oh,
you're right, Jared.
maybe.
We don't know their motivation, but we do know that being black was more important for them than being able to swim in this particular instance.
Yeah,
that's what we know.
Maybe, but also, I'm like,
we know that for a fact because they were planning on having water scenes and they can't because she can't swim.
David, did you want me to bring up that YouTube video then? I have it up.
We can talk about it again after. I just thought we would talk about it after the Mandalorian thing because it tied right in. But
got it. Okay.
I'll just bring it up as a.
I brought up the first news article because it was news, not a bad take. So it wasn't. It was a different segment.
No, there were two. There were two links in that email. I sent you.
It was 3 links. You sent me 3 links.
I don't remember.
You sent me that article, which was an article, so I did it, and then you sent me the YouTube video.
That was in the same email,
and then you sent me the Devilishly Clever. No, that was the one we just went.
That was the one we just did.
The IndieWire one. I had that.
Oh, shoot. There's another one I didn't even send you. It's still in my inbox.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Sorry, I opened up the ones you sent me.
That's not the one, though. There were 2 of them. Never mind. We'll talk about it when we get there. It's fine.
It was the Grogu Mando reunion and the Kathleen Kennedy made the decisions.
Yeah, they went hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let's continue.
I have the other article pulled up for bad takes. I have it.
The other one's not an article. It was the YouTube video clip.
I have a YouTube video and an article pulled up ready for bad takes.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
Got
Sounds
some
good.
really great programming going on.
I thought that's what we were doing right now. I'm sorry.
Discussions.
Yeah, and here's the other point. They haven't turned a single character white who was written to be black.
Yeah, so. There's a lot involved with it. I think that there's a lot.
I want to see a white black. I want to see a white Black Panther. If your motives for casting are really race blind, then give me a white Black Panther.
Yeah, no, and I agree that their arguments are not race blind, and I do think that that's not great. But I also think that I just don't particularly want to harp on this too much more because it's like fine, I just gonna roll with it.
Yeah, and like I've said before, if you are gonna race swap a mermaid. It doesn't. I mean, I know it's a Danish tale, but it's a freaking mythological mermaid. It doesn't matter what race they go.
Just write an original story, and I won't give a crap.
Yeah, I'd love that too. I'm 100% with you there.
Stories to be good, and so far all of the live remakes have not held a candle to the original. Some of them better than others, but
and I still think that will have nothing to do with the fact that they decided to race swap her for that. That'll just be because they can't do these live action remakes very well. It's like we were talking about with The Last of Us, where like they've got something that's golden or even silver, whatever the case may be, and they think they're trying to polish it up, but they end up kind of polishing it down 90% of the time. And that's just everything that they do, whether or not they've done any other, ulterior motives with this, like this one.
So there was also in the news this week, people were talking about Goosebumps novels being rewritten for sensitivity writers. But David, you sent me this one too.
Yeah, so it's just another thing right on the heels of Roald Dahl being edited. They're doing the same thing to R.L. Stine.
But it was debunked by R.L. Stine himself. So people were spreading that's what it says. R.L. Stine debunks report.
Oh, right.
That's what you sent it to me, David.
Right.
So they were
Sorry.
reporting that they were re-editing his books, and he came out on Twitter and said, "This story's untrue. I've never changed a word in a Goosebumps book." So it was a fake news story.
As
But
long
there-
as he
there
has
were-
he maintains the rights to keep that from happening by somebody
Yes.
else doing it
Right.
to him.
There were, however, there were digital versions of the books that had been edited. They just weren't they weren't
They
officially
weren't
his.
published.
And they weren't
Gotcha.
published.
No, I think they were published. It was a weird thing. So like it wasn't anything he knew about, and he came out against it. So good job, R.L. Stein.
Yeah.
Nice.
Polish a turd. It's still a turd. Just shiny.
Yep.
So that was interesting. Did you guys see the Teen MT trailer?
No,
Mm-mm.
that
So
doesn't look great.
We
though.
talked about her casting last week.
Jackie Chan, woo!
Oh, that's supposed to be April.
This is April O'Neil.
Lovely. Looks like a Thelma all over again.
And
That's a weird choice for Splinter.
This
That's
is-
a real the other choice was a weird choice. This is a weirder choice. I'm sorry, but this is a
This is
weirder
Splinter.
choice.
Mullet, afro,
That is
Splinter.
weird.
yeah, here's
Thing.
the full scene with her. I don't even I think the Ninja Turtles look awful too.
Yeah, they look a little weird, but not as bad as April. and
They're
Splinter.
trying to copy the animation style from Spider-Man into the
Mhm.
Spider-Verse,
Oh,
and they're failing miserably. I watched the trailer. It looks really bad. Like it
Yeah.
looks like really crappy animation too. Which is sad. Those character designs look awful. And why does he have glasses? It's okay.
That
That's
is
weird.
weird. That is a change that I don't think was necessary, but I'm okay with it. Like he's the nerdy character, sure. Put glasses on him.
I didn't even notice that
Donnie
Yeah,
got
Leonardo
glasses.
glasses.
Yeah, he's
No,
got glasses.
Donnie.
Donatello, yeah.
That's Donatello, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't even. I thought you were talking about April. She's got glasses, but
It does.
I don't know.
It does
why-
look like teenage Stacey Abrams.
Oh no.
My dad's calling me. Well, anyway, that's most of the news. I
Yeah.
have a news article that has to do with history of the world, which we can bring up when we talk about that.
And I don't mind if you guys want to talk about it or just
We can talk about it a little bit because I also
Let's-
had to
yeah.
hop off and I don't know anything
Yeah.
about the Mandalorian.
Okay, let's talk about Mel Brooks then. Oh my goodness. Okay, you guys talk about Mel.
All right.
Yeah. So this week I went and rewatched History of the World Part 1, which is fun. It's got some good gags in it. I don't think it's Mel Brooks's best work, but it's fun. And then I watched the first 4 episodes of History of the World Part 2, and I don't know. I think it's got some funny gags. I think it takes a joke that is funny and just beats it to death until it's not funny anymore in several cases, which that was a bit unfortunate. And there was one segment, I think in episode 2, about the Kama Sutra that I just had to skip that scene. That was too much.
Episode 1, yeah.
Was that episode 1?
Yeah, it was so.
That was really raunchy. I just had to skip that entire scene.
Episode 1 was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it
So that-
before the show.
Episode 1 was the one with the Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful.
I also.
It does.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I-
Go
I
ahead.
also. Go ahead.
I got the idea behind the joke. It was funny, but the execution was so bad.
Yes. And like just as David, I went and rewatched it. The first not rewatched it. I never had watched any of Mel Brooks' work. Not familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I watched that movie and I said, "Oh, this is great. This is the kind of humor that I love. I love a spoof. I love parody movies. Even if they are terrible, like disaster movie, I still enjoy them because I don't know. I like thinking differently about the day-to-day stuff that we usually live. And the history of the world was such an interesting concept, and in my opinion, was really done. With this in the first part, and then I Sun wiped out. Oh, sorry. And then The part two, I watched the first episode, and my God, it was terrible. I didn't even wanted to watch the rest of it. I just watched the first episode, and every single sketch fell flat. There
Yeah.
was
The
not a single joke in the first episode that was
the
funny at all.
the one sketch in episode 1 that was good was Rasputin gets murdered by the cast of Jackass.
And
Yeah.
just the
That's a
first,
recurring thing.
and
Yeah,
it's
it's a
just the
recurring bit
first.
that keeps coming back. That's
Yeah,
clever, but all of the other sketches in episode 1 I did not like.
yeah.
I thought there were
Oh
there
yeah,
were
yeah.
some things that were funny, and then they just kept going and going. And it was like, oh my gosh,
like
enough
like the
already. It's not funny
Rasputin
anymore.
one. It was funny at the beginning when they just stab the guy, and then they keep at it, and they keep at it with the town people. You know, this guy, all the Russian guy and his wife. They are so unfunny. Who is that guy? I don't remember the name, but
Nick
he's
Kroll.
so unfunny. Is the guy from Big Mouth, right?
Yeah, he's the guy who
Oh,
wrote
you
Big
can
Mouth.
tell that. Oh my God.
It's
Yeah.
So bad. The accent, the Russian accent was so bad. Where did they get these people? Just get some freaking Russian people that speak English and do the beat. They don't even
Yeah.
look Russian.
so
Yeah,
I'd seen most of Mel Brooks's movies, but I had not seen History of the World Part 1 until this week. And I really liked it. It's far from his best work.
Yeah.
But it's really good. And you can actually see Mel Brooks reuses jokes sometimes.
Yeah, especially in this one.
But when he does it, every time it gets reused in a later movie, it gets better. So he does the "walk this way" joke in History of the World Part 1, which he copies in Young Frankenstein, and it's
Other
done
way
even
around,
better.
actually. Young Frankenstein came out
That
first.
came out first. Okay,
Yeah.
it's done. All right, it's done worse than this one. But
Yeah.
like there are hints of jokes that he uses later on that get better. But I really liked History of the World Part 1. There's some of the jokes didn't land as hard as others, but some of them hit really, really hard. And
Yeah.
like the Spanish Inquisition bit
Hmm.
I was hysterical. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, that movie is flawless
I woke my daughter
until
up
the
from
last
a nap.
part. Yeah, that movie is flawless until the last part. I think that all those three, the caveman, and then the Romance, and then the Spanish Inquisition, that was great. And then the final is like, okay, some of the jokes fell flat. It's not that interesting, a little bit boring. But my God, the first episode of this new one is you see the wokeness.
Then it saves it
effect
with
in the mind.
the teasers for History of the World Part 2. The quick gags were
Mhm.
so funny. Jews in space
Yes.
was so good, and Hitler on Ice was great. And
Yeah, they revisit Hitler on Ice in this one too. I don't
yes,
remember what episode that is.
But it's
Yeah.
not. It's the same episode, first one, and
First
no,
episode.
first episode, because this is the only one that I watched, and I remember the Hitler on Ice, and it was
but
it
again,
wasn't so good.
I thought that was a really good gag for them to be doing, because he said no repeats, right? But so they're doing the Hitler on Ice, but then they're commenting on it. I
Yeah.
thought that was a really funny gag, but then it just went on and on and on.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, it's
Oh, yeah,
over.
yeah.
Like, it's not funny anymore. And that happened over and over and over again. I thought they had a good joke, a good
Yeah.
concept, and
That-
they just beat it over the head over and over again. I'm
You
like,
know why that happened?
stop.
If you wait for the ending credits, you see like there's like 10 writers for one episode.
ugh,
For episode one, like 10 writers,
if
and
you
none of them sound good. Like
yeah.
a lot of them sound like centennials.
I was curious as to how involved Mel Brooks was with this production, and it doesn't look like it was a lot, which is the
Yeah.
article that I had pulled up. It's
I keep expecting him to have some sort of role in here, and he just introduces the thing and he does the voiceover.
yeah. So he was basically a producer.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
He was their advisor. He didn't write any of the jokes. Other people wrote the jokes and pitched them to him, and he says, "Oh, that sounds funny." Because a lot of these jokes do have good ideas. It's the execution that's the problem. So he was involved in everyone would pitch the jokes to him, and then they'd go off and write them, and the premise is not executed well.
Yeah.
So
there's some funny
is an
things
interesting
in there,
article, and there are a couple bits that he was involved in, but this really isn't his baby. He just gave them permission to do it, which it was disappointing. I was hoping he'd be more involved, and it really does show. And
did anybody else watch past episode 2?
Yes, I watched the first 4.
Okay.
So
episode 3 is super woke.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because they have some really good ideas with the Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
That
the
was
difference
brilliant.
is,
and then they
what's crazy? I never thought I would be saying this about Mel Brooks. The reason why History of the World 1 works and this show doesn't is because Mel Brooks is subtle, which is not the first word I would use to describe Mel Brooks. He is very blunt in his jokes, and he points to them. It's very meta. And yet he's more subtle than the show. The show lacks it doesn't have tact. It just jumps from idea to idea, and it's not very good.
Yeah. In history of the first one is condensed, and this is like a bloated mess. Yeah.
I will say it does get better. I hated episode 1.
I really liked.
I hated episode 1. Episode 2 had a couple good sketches. Let's see. It had the I liked the opener. I liked the D-Day sketch.
That was good.
It was a dumb idea and it lasted too long, but I liked that idea of making fun of the Saving Private Ryan scene where the guy throws up. I thought it was obviously it was too much and it was offensive, but that was part of the joke, is that no, none of us are actually nervous for the war. It's just we had some bad seafood and they all had different excuses for throwing up. I thought that was clever. Marco Polo had a good idea and bad execution.
Yep.
And then Curb Your Enthusiasm with Jesus and Judas was a great idea, and it wasn't subtle at all. There were so many F words in there, and they were using swearing as a crutch,
right?
Because the scene wasn't good. I liked the idea behind it, but and that's the thing. Mel Brooks in his R-rated films sometimes has swear words. Like in History of the World Part 1, there are 3 F words, maybe 2. This one had 50 in just in episode 1, and I was it was grating. I was I never thought I would call Mel Brooks subtle, but compared to this, it is. They reuse how you're pissing on my foot with the Jesus sketch and the 30 pieces of silver. Oh, and then Shirley Chisholm. That's where I realized I don't like Wanda Sykes at all.
Not at all.
Her bit with the sitcom was a good idea, but the execution was so bad. Yep. There wasn't a single joke in that sketch. It was just her preaching.
Awesome.
It was literally
look how awesome Shirley Chisholm is, and look what an idiot Richard Nixon is.
That's what it was. There was no joke. It was just, hey, I'm going to teach you about this person that you need to know about because she was an important black woman. There was nothing funny about it, and they kept going back to it. It wasn't funny at all. And then, the only part that I did like was the Civil War section.
Yeah, the Civil War section is
in the saloon. Hilarious. They get held up on gunpoint. That part was legitimately hilarious.
We're gonna play a game. It's called Never Have I Ever.
That was great.
It's so freaking good.
That part that sketch continues in episode 3, and it's really, really good until they get to Harriet Tubman, and Wanda Sykes comes back in the picture and just tanks the sketch.
Yep,
it's so bad.
And again, it's a good concept. They're actually they go in a cave. And
most of these have good concepts,
like railroad. And Harriet Tubman is smuggling.
It was funny. It was good. And then she derails the entire show to preach.
Unintended.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then like Alexander Graham Bell, the first phone call followed by the first prank call was really funny until it gets just so vulgar you can't watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
Noah filling up the ark with dogs. Great concept, horrible execution. Sigmund Freud's masterclass was good. That was really funny. And that was Taika Waititi. See, I like some of the stuff he does.
And again, that scene didn't go on for 10 minutes.
It was short. It was short, and it was good.
2-minute thing, and they went on. They didn't beat it to death.
And then it goes into the Harriet Tubman sketch, which is completely derailed, and then the rest of it was back in Moscow. I don't like the Moscow segments at all. I don't think there's anything funny about them. That's the one where they have all the songs
Jewish
too.
Guy's funny.
The main Jewish guy is Nick Kroll. He can be funny. He's got his show. It's an old show, the League, which is an improvised show about fantasy football. It gets often too vulgar, but he can be funny in it. But he's also the guy that's responsible for Big Mouth, which is the most disgusting show I've ever seen. I watched the first episode and I was like, why would you make this a show? It's gross.
Well, I
do not. So the four people involved, the main writers, they all have their main sketch. Wanda Sykes has the Shirley Temple one, Shirley Chisholm. Nick Kroll has the Jewish one. And the other guy whose name I can't remember he's in charge with the one that's good, the Civil War one. And then there's another one I can't remember. But
I don't know. I like the Russian Jewish one. I think I really like his voice, his character he's doing.
The problem is the songs. That one's got all the music in it.
Yeah.
And it's
songs are not great.
It's not good music.
No.
You watch History of the World Part 1.
Especially Jack Black's
the
musical.
Spanish Inquisition is so good. It's
all right.
It's a funny song, but it's also legitimately good music.
Yeah.
And these ones they try and we're gonna break out into a music, but like they don't sell it. And so the joke is that they're doing a musical, but it's not good.
Yeah. I was really disappointed with Jack Black's musical number 2. I was like, Jack Black's got the scene. He's going to
started it, and I was like, it's going to be good. And then it was not.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was very disappointing.
Yeah, what gets me mad is that they are wasting so much talent. There are so many people involved with this thing.
Yeah.
And the jokes just fell flat. Why don't any of them? Obviously the ones that are funny are the ones that have funny people on them. You know,
right.
The one with the Civil War. This guy is hilarious. I've been watching him ever since he was in Disasters movie and all those movies. You know,
Ike.
He did all those movies. Yeah. He's funny as hell.
Barinholtz.
Yeah.
I really like him.
Funny
and I
as
really
hell.
like his segment.
Yeah, and even though the segment is a little bit okay, if you don't know anything about the Civil War, you don't know what the hell is going on. And I didn't know what the hell was going on most of the time because I don't know anything about the American Civil War. I know about the Mexican one, the Revolution.
Pancho Villa, baby.
It's only very loosely based in the Civil War.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know who is who. I didn't know this guy was supposed to be a drunk. Have
I told you that Pancho Villa was friends with Bentley, one of our ancestors?
Yeah. You
we talked about it.
That
okay.
was cool. But yeah, that was the only one that is really funny, and the rest of them, like you said, they just beat them to death. It's incredible how, but like I said, it's a problem with having so many writers, all probably with ADHD. Doing one sketch, it doesn't make sense to me. Why just have 3 or 4 guys to do all the whole show? They don't have the brain to do it. That's the problem. They don't.
Agreed.
What's great? So like, yeah, a lot of it is missing. Some of the sketches are pretty funny, and then you get to episode 4, which is legitimately one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Episode 4 really liked episode 4.
Is hilarious.
The best joke though, because I haven't really liked any of the Jesus stuff that they've done so far. History of the World Part 1 was brilliant. I love the Last Supper scene.
Oh, but that was my favorite part about episode 4 was
it's so freaking good.
It's Jesus dating Mary Magdalene.
Yeah,
but it's
I
the
haven't liked
Notebook.
Yeah,
It's so funny.
It's so ridiculous
good.
and it's so funny. But my favorite bit in the very end, when Jesus is telling Mary Magdalene that he's got to leave, Mary Magdalene's mom and dad come out or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, we finally got a bunny rabbit and a chicken to hook up, and they made these little chocolate eggs. And when the chocolate eggs hatch, it's a marshmallow chick. It's amazing. It's a miracle." and Jesus was like, "That sounds like a wonderful tradition to remember me by." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so freaking brilliant! It's so good."
The dunk tank was it was so funny. Like all of it was brilliant. And I'm like, why can't you just like you guys, like people involved clearly know comedy, but it's like they're not trying, or half the time it gets sacrificed to preach to you.
Yeah, they've been involved with comedy for too many years, to be honest. So they have the gist of it at least, but I don't know why they cannot tell which is unfunny, because they can do funny, but they cannot know when something is really, really unfunny, and they have to just chop it out.
But if you don't want to watch the rest, just watch episode 4. I'll probably finish, but I'm not going to force.
I mean, I guess I will watch it.
It was way too vulgar.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. Like yeah, Mel Brooks was known for being offensive and stuff, but he was never like.
He knew just
I don't know,
the right amount to kind of tease you and make fun of stuff, and then he'll move on.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious.
So preachy at times.
Yeah. I'm just curious with some of that vulgarity. I wonder how much of that's just like the different time that we're in, because like back in the 80s when he was making his stuff, what he did was really pushing the boundaries pretty far. Yeah. And like now where the boundaries are at, like the only way you can push the boundaries even as much as he would normally have done from the 80s is to go that far. You know?
But swearing in comedy is a crutch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
you can just use the F word, at the right time, and it's funny, or like just
or you
having a
too
kid say things that are inappropriate.
Yeah, just, no, for sure. I'm with you. I'm just positing an idea, trying to see if maybe there's something to that just with the way that the change in society has been. I don't know.
Yeah. And to be honest, I don't understand why Mel Brooks gay, because he says the FAG word a lot in the history of the world. In the first one, a lot. I was like, okay, why isn't this guy canceled? But if you praise the same message,
I was gonna say it's probably just the different time because
it's the 80s, right? It's the 80s. It's not that far off.
You get away with it back then. Even in the 90s, you could probably get away with it, especially if it's in a comedy situation.
But still, many people
for it today for sure.
People get canceled for things that they say in the past, and this guy was openly putting the type of words, in his movies that you say, okay, pushing the boundaries, and that was funny at the moment. I laughed out loud when he said it. It came out of nowhere. And it was funny because of that, because it came out of nowhere. But it's like, okay, why are you now preaching? Why is this now preaching? You don't have the right to be preaching, bro. You were offensive as many comedians.
There's room to acknowledge that you've made mistakes in the past, maybe to preach about it. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
The other big difference between 1 and 2 is that Mel Brooks is a storyteller, in addition to being a comedian. Like History of the World Part 1 tells a story, it jumps between things, but he's more interested in telling a good story with jokes in it.
Yeah,
and this show,
end, all of his
they all connect, they all combine, and it's really great. History of the World Part 2 is more concerned with getting the punchline out and less concerned with telling a good story.
Yeah.
And it just falls flat most of the time.
And we haven't finished it, but it seems like all these segments are not going to connect. I could be wrong, but.
And if they do.
Jews in Space. I loved Jews in Space.
That was so good.
Jews in Space was so funny.
It was the same tune as
it's the same tune as Robin Hood Men in Tights. Anyway, so you haven't seen any of other Mel Brooks films. You watch Spaceballs first. You were saying I'd heard about it, but I was afraid to watch it because it sounded like
Yeah.
a porn.
I heard about it.
It really
I thought it
does.
was
It sounds like a
because
porn parody. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
it's
go.
just that I
Spaceballs
mistakenly
is
watched
probably his
it.
most
Yeah.
approachable film. It's really good, but I love Robin Hood Men in Tights. I love
Young
Young Frankenstein and Dracula Dead and Loving It. Dracula Dead and Loving It did not get like great reviews, but it's one of my favorite ones. Like it's
I haven't
really
heard
fun.
or seen that one.
It's not Dracula Dead and Loving It is not even in my Mel Brooks collection of Blu-ray films.
It's
I got a whole
really-
complete collection.
It's
not in there.
really funny.
It's really funny, yeah.
I love Dracula. The
I
guy
think
that
I've seen
the guy that they got
Spaceballs
for
and-
Renfield sold the movie.
So good.
Renfield is hilarious in
Yeah.
Dracula.
Are
But then if you want to
interested
get
in all in the new Renfield movie that's coming out,
it,
Looks
it
kinda
looks
interesting.
it looks interesting.
looks
It's
fun.
It's Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Nick
I
Cage
don't
and
I don't I told you the story. I watched the trailer and I was like, oh, this looks funny. This looks interesting. And then
Warm Bodies guy.
and then they've got Aquafina who pops on the screen and I was just like, oh.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Was she in it? I don't
No
remember.
thanks.
all right,
No
yeah,
thanks.
she pops up for a little
She's
bit.
the,
Yeah.
she's the cop.
Seems like, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, it looks fun. I'll check it out. But yeah,
Um,
if you want to see more Mel Brooks, Spaceballs, Men in Tights, and Young Frankenstein, and Blazing Saddles are probably
Oh.
his more.
I need to
Blazing
sit down and
Saddles, Blazing Saddles is probably his
Producers
most
is pretty good.
Blazing Saddles is his most important film. Spaceballs is the most approachable, and the other ones are just really fun
Yeah,
genre.
Young Frankenstein is my personal favorite. But
Gonna watch
Yeah,
them all.
Frankenstein
I am
was-
interested.
watch them all. They're good.
Yeah,
Mel Brooks is
And
fantastic.
if you like Alfred Hitchcock, High Anxiety is a really good one that spoofs Alfred Hitchcock. I know I'm missing one.
there's a silent movie. There's both versions
That
of
one's
the
okay.
producers.
Oh, the producers, right?
There's two more that are kind of meh. I don't remember what they're called.
There's a lot. Yeah, 12 chairs.
And
12 chairs, yeah.
and then go watch Get Smart, the TV show.
Yes.
Obviously I watched Get Smart. Yeah.
Not the movie, the TV show.
No, I know. I used to love watching Get Smart. That was one of
Dude,
my favorite
That's Mel
shows.
Brooks.
For real?
Really love
Yeah,
it.
he wrote
Yeah,
it.
that explains a lot. That
It's good.
has some great humor. One of my favorites. My father used to love it, so whenever it was, there was a channel where they put well, in Mexico, we don't get a lot of these American shows, so we only get the new ones that are trash compared to the old ones, and they used to all the time, all day, put shows like Get Smart, Alf, The Monster Family, The
Alf.
Addams.
Alf is
Alf.
great too.
I love Alf. It's one of my favorite
Alf is
shows
so
ever.
good.
So I've seen almost every episode.
Alf has no right to be good. It's the stupidest thing ever, but it's
so good.
funny.
Alien
I've
life
always
form.
heard so much about it. Like my brother loved it, but I don't think I've ever actually seen any about
Oh,
besides little
it is
clips
so
or
good.
little bits here and there. But like I know
The little
well, I feel
bits,
like I know what he is, but
it's enough. Yeah, it's a great show. And like I said, Alf and Get Smart were my favorite ones. Then the Monsters and the Crazy and the Adams, and then Genie and the Bottle and all those kind of
Oh, yeah.
tons. I don't know. They were such a great
Dream of
collection
Genie was a
of
fun one.
shows
Yeah.
that
love
channel
these.
got, but that was like the only thing. And then Nick at Night came, and there were a lot of things as well in that part of Nickelodeon. That was the only thing I used to watch from Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Great times.
Yeah, I forgot that Get Smart was Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know.
He
Literally, I want
he
to
created the
just-
show. He wrote a couple episodes, but he's the producer of it.
I want to go watch that show again. In Mexico, it's called
wonderful.
Super Agente 86, Super Agent 86 Agent,
It's so good.
Super Agent. And
yeah, Super
yeah,
86.
it's good. The movie, the movie, the remake that they tried to do was not that bad.
The movie's fine. It's
Yeah.
just but compared to the TV show, it's like man.
Yeah, but I really wanted
I enjoyed the
that
movie.
movie to hit so they could make like a remake of the show, but they never went for it. I don't know
That would have
why.
been a great play, man. I would like to get because the
Get
office
more,
was
get
the
smart.
office was
Yeah.
over by then, right? If they would have rebooted the TV show, man, that could have been good.
Yeah.
With why can't I remember his name? What's the
Steve-
guy from the
Michael.
Michael
Yeah.
Scott.
What's his name?
Michael
That
Scott.
get smart guy.
From The Office, he's Michael Scott.
Yeah.
No, isn't that shoot, I just said it. It was
Talking about the movie
Yeah.
and the American.
Steve Carell, right?
Steve
Yeah,
Carell.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Oh my
man.
god.
That was one of the worst brain farts I've ever had.
I literally watched the Office the last week. This last week I watched the whole
Yeah.
Office entirely.
I would have
and
liked
I
to
don't.
see that. Yeah, I would have liked to see it Get Smart rebooted with Steve.
So it doesn't
Carell.
look like The
No.
Office was over by then, although he might have left by then. Because,
But he was gone by season 7. Mhm.
Yeah.
No, but here's the thing.
It went
it's
from
hard,
one in 2005, 2013, and Get Smart came out in 2008. So he
It's
was
hard-
probably in the middle of it. Time.
it's hard to replace the guy that plays Agent 86 though.
Oh,
with
yeah.
like, he was so good. Like, I think his name was Don Adams or something like that. But
Yeah, he was great.
Well, this guy, not Steve Carell. I don't remember. Oh, Steve Carell.
Yeah.
I don't
Steve
even
Carell
remember the name.
Played him in the
Okay.
remake.
He was good. I mean, he was funny. He's a funny guy. He's The Office is a great show. I mean, although I watched the Office UK, and the Office UK is freaking hilarious. Every episode is. I really hated that the first episode and the first episode from the Office UK are basically the same episode, but
Yeah.
the Office UK just executed them even better because Dwight is actually a believable character. It's just
Yeah.
TWAT, which is something that happens a lot of back then. A twat.
Oh, I heard
remember.
W, and so yeah. No, I gotcha. Yeah, no, it is a little bit more grounded. The UK version. The UK version came first. I don't know if you
Mhm,
were
yeah.
That one came first, and then the American one, they parodied it obviously off the very first episode, and then they went from there and made it itself, which was they did a good job, I think. But
I remembered the thing that I hated the most about the History of the World Part 2. It was in episode 2 during the Curb Your Enthusiasm sketch with Jesus. Nick Kroll, the guy who does the Jewish one with the Romanovs, he inserted one of his own jokes from an old TV show into History of the World.
No,
In his show, the League, he has a recurring bit where something gross will happen to him, and he says, "Oh, forever unclean," in a really annoying way, and it works on his show. But he inserted into this when he got like pissed on or whatever. He's like, "Oh, Judas, forever unclean," and I was like,
that didn't belong here.
It didn't work in this context, and it showed that he was more concerned about inserting himself into this project than respecting the project. So
Yeah.
that made me upset.
yeah, that was one line where I was like, "What is it? What are you saying?"
Yeah, it was just a joke from his old TV show. That's what it was.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Did I bring? Oh, where is that tweet? Sorry,
Is this
there
still on
was
History of the World Part 2?
No, I thought I had an article. Okay, I thought it was saving it for later, but I don't have it up.
But what's the
what-
consensus? We're gonna continue watching the History of the War. So
I'll finish watching it, but I'm not going to force anyone to watch it.
Yeah, I'll
I
probably
can give you
finish it
access
too.
to
I don't
Google to
know.
catch 'em.
I don't know if it'll be this week or not.
Sorry.
There's funny stuff in there. Episode 4 was really, really good.
Yeah, I only
But-
want to watch it because of episode 4. But if it gets worse, I'm going to be,
Yeah.
sign
Well,
off.
Episode 3
early.
was terrible. It was the worst episode, and it was more woke than the other episodes.
Wanda Sykes gave an interview talking about the Black Jesus in History of the World, and I had an article, and it's not here. She said that here's the thing. I thought the idea of a Black Jesus was funny because it's a comedy. It's funny. She didn't think it was funny.
And it's not even an original. Yeah.
She gave an interview. I'm trying to find the quote right now. I thought I had it pulled up. I guess it just didn't make it the cut, or it got lost in translation. There's a quote where someone was interviewing her about the show, and she said, "I thought it was important to have a Black Jesus so people can learn history."
Yeah.
Because she actually believes that Jesus was Black. She's like, it was important to me to make Jesus Black so that people could learn the truth, I believe was closer to what she said.
He wasn't white either, but I mean, he was Jewish, which is a little paler than
Right. He was Mediterranean. He had darker skin. He wasn't super, super pale white.
He had a pretty good tan on. But have you seen Jews?
Yeah.
They're mostly white. Now, living in the Middle East, he would have had, a little bit darker skin and tan, but he was Jewish. He wasn't Black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but man, I can't find this interview.
Yeah.
But
I don't
the
have
way
any
that
problem
the way that
with-
Wanda Sykes was talking about it, though, it wasn't a joke to her. It was important to show Jesus as Black to teach people, which is exactly what was wrong with every single one of her segments.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't have any problem with him being Black. I did find his look.
It's funny. It was a good gag.
Hair and the cap was a little weird. I thought they should have made him have longer hair or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like seeing him with the cap on, was just weird. But
the whole
it's
centennial
fine. It's
thing about the show, oh my god, I hate it so much. Making it like Anastasia making a stream.
No, that was good. That was such a good
come
gag.
on. They don't even know what
that.
the fuck is a stream, bro. They don't even know what they're doing.
Commentary on modern culture. He's like,
no,
the world is
bro.
ending, your whole family is killed. He's like,
How
hashtag last Romanov. No, I love that.
No, bro.
It was pretty on the nose, David.
I watched.
Sure,
I have watched so many bad horror movies, and they all start the same way with the horrible depiction of a stream and with the nonsensical comments with hashtags and I don't know. It gave me flashbacks of war, of bad things. But I don't know. The thing is that they do it too much. If they only made that one joke about Anastasia, doing a stream, that's okay. But they made it with the second. I don't know. It happened a lot of times, and I just tuned off for a while there. Around
I agree. Like I
middle
said,
of the episode 2.
They run the jokes into the ground. I thought it was a funny gag, but you're right. They do it a little too much.
Yeah, the thing is that it's probably funny for people that don't really like watch a lot of streams on Twitch or something like that. But I don't know, Twitch is a little bit different, and if they put that little bit of amount of research to what Twitch actually is, would have been way funnier because Twitch is a mess. Yeah.
I can't find this quote.
It's in that article that you had pulled up. Jared just put it in the private chat, and it's about halfway down the article, maybe, between a third and a halfway down the article.
Okay. It's in the one we already looked at.
Yeah, it's in the one that you already looked at that you have pulled up. Mel Brooks talks through working on History of the World Part 2. I'm the Jewish advisor.
Yeah, I knew I had it.
Oh yeah, it is
I knew I read it.
I just searched Jesus in there, and it's like the second or third.
Yep, it's the third paragraph from the end.
Let me see if I can share my screen again.
Well, let me just say that the Black Jesus gag was originally in Family Guy first.
Yeah, and the way that it's presented in this isn't as bad as what you were saying.
No,
Alan, but
that's the thing. Like I thought the joke was funny, but she didn't think it was
her quote here. Okay, like it was a little less than what I was getting from you, but it still is kind of like okay.
Sykes says that she was keen on having a black man play Jesus, given the historical accuracy.
Yeah.
That's not accurate.
Her quote there.
I was
is a-
telling everyone,
Yeah,
and this is
explanation,
also
yeah.
in my stand-up, that one of the earliest paintings of Jesus looks more like Teddy Pendergast, not blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Yeah, we know that. Okay,
Yeah.
they had to go with the Malibu Jesus to sell. There was another quote though, but
Oh, was there?
yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah, that one there
whatever.
again.
Oh
It's not.
my
As,
God.
yeah, again, it's still a little bit of romance.
But you can see this isn't approaching it like comedy.
No, it's preachy.
This is approaching it like, teaching.
Yeah.
But
Maybe it's like that crazy thought that Kanye West said that I don't know if I can repeat here on stream, but that Kelly Irving posted about a documentary that said that black people were Jewish. I don't know if you guys remember that about Kanye West.
yeah,
Though he was saying something
it
like
was
that.
stupid then, right? But,
Yeah,
remember
perhaps
that.
maybe that's where she's coming from. I don't know.
yeah, it's silly. Whatever.
Mhm.
I don't
Really, really stupid.
Yeah, it was disappointing. There were a couple good jokes. I'll finish watching it, but it could have been a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Should we do some bad takes?
I thought that's what we've been doing.
No,
Yeah.
those were news.
Here,
Separated those.
I haven't played
Oh,
the stinger.
okay.
I didn't play the stinger. Here we go.
Screen rants. Bad takes.
David, the first segment is news. Is nerd news.
Gotcha. Now I understand what you're talking about when you separated those two articles I gave you.
Patty Jenkins slams the Oscars for shutting women out of Best Director. I give up, she says. Yeah, well, we already knew that you gave up a long time ago. But having to sit through Wonder Woman 1984.
Yep.
You might not be the best
Advocate.
Yeah.
Example for this. It's interesting.
You might not be the
I've
best
also heard
authority
people point out that
on this.
that was it Monster or whatever that she got
Yes.
either she got an Oscar or she directed somebody
I don't
else
care.
to an Oscar with it, where it's like, okay, maybe she does have some room, but everything she's done since then hasn't really been able to prove.
Wonder Woman was okay, and it turns out it's because she didn't write it.
Yeah. Well, and then,
Snyder, wrote it
Yeah.
with the other guy.
I'm okay with the fact that like not all directors have to be writers, but like you can be a best director without being good at writing. Yeah, 84 was awful. I liked
It was
one,
horrible.
but,
Yeah, maybe if you make a good movie, then maybe it'll be in the Oscars. Also,
Yeah.
why does anyone care about the Oscars?
What does everyone care about what Patty Jenkins had to say about the Oscars?
That's a good point. If you're worried about historical accuracy, maybe you don't have Jesus say the F word a million times.
Yeah, this is not the place to be trying to do some historical accuracy thing.
Yep.
Anyway, there's more bad takes. The BBC reportedly bends the knee to J.K. Rowling again by renewing her TV show strike about a detective.
Oh, she has a TV show? I want to support it.
Apparently she's getting one of her other things optioned for a TV show, and BBC is making it for her. It's like, oh, they're shilling for her again. It's like, no, they're just making money, making an adaptation of a good source.
You can see the spite in the headline. That's not how news works. Okay, this is not how you report the news. You say J.K. Rowling's TV show has been renewed. And then in the article, if you want to bring up controversy, say, hey, some people don't like J.K. Rowling right now, but some people do. That's news. This is propaganda.
Yep.
And it's a bad take.
Yeah, but I mean, we're going to keep supporting J.K.
Newsflash.
Rowling because we love her.
Yeah, newsflash. I don't like J.K. Rowling. I disagree with 98% of her politics. Okay? But I don't hate people because of their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to to read books from people who I disagree with. You people are psychopaths.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves is in the news again because the director just did another interview.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Anytime these people open their mouths, it makes me not want to see their movie. Like the
Mhm.
trailer
Yeah,
looks good.
We
The
were
director-
talking a little bit. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah, we talked about this last week when they talked about
Mhm.
purposely emasculating men. I'm like,
Well,
it's this
and we
movie is in the same camp as Avatar 2 for me. Like, I want to see it, but every time the people involved in making it talk, it makes me want to see it less.
And just like Avatar 2, maybe it'll actually turn out to be at least enjoyable because Avatar 2 ended up being enjoyable in spite of what James Cameron was saying outside of the movie itself. So this is another thing that we talked about just before this stream. There was a TV spot
They
that
did the same thing with Andor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
had nothing
there
to
was
do
a
with the
TV
TV
spot for this that I saw that was, I loved it because it was such a D&D joke. It's a scene where they've done a spell that allows you to revive somebody to ask them 5 questions, and it's the sort of thing that a DM is just messing with you because you're asking your party some questions, and the person that you're asking that you're supposed to be that you've revived keeps taking the questions and counts them as 5, and like you lose your opportunity. And it was, I loved that bit from that little thing, and I'm like, this looks really, really good. But this doesn't look good. This is like, no, quiet, no. Just be quiet. Wait until you're done. Just get it out.
The directors admit to using established IP as a costume for their own stories. We're still going to make the movie that we want to make.
Yeah, still could turn out okay.
Really
but
bad
that's
way
just
to
not a sound
to word it.
Hollywood has been doing for years, and now they're just saying it.
Yep.
They don't care about the source material. They don't care about D&D. They care about telling their message, and they're flavoring it D&D.
The flavoring of D&D that I have seen spattered through there.
It's a good flavor, right? So people, Jared, that's the point.
No, but my
point,
what I'm trying
that's
to say
why
is
they do it. It's because D&D tastes good. And so
No.
you say, "Oh, I'd like to have some D&D for dinner." And then you start eating the dinner, and then you realize, "Oh, what's this? Indoctrination in my soup?" That's the point. Is they'll make it just enticing enough so that they can put in their message.
No, and see, so but my point is more that like it's not just set dressing. From what I've seen so far, and I haven't seen everything, I've just seen the trailers and everything, but they've done more than just set dressing to wrap their thing. It seems like they're really getting some good pieces of the actual material in there.
Right.
So I'm hoping it'll turn out all right, because what I have seen does look good. But
I've mentioned this before. Everything that they said early on gave good vibes. They were going back to the D&D books and having personal discussions with Wizards of the Coast and saying, "Hey, what kind of beasts can we use in this? What kind of settings can we use in our film?" They actually developed a new setting in D&D because they wanted such and such things. They developed a new setting that's going to be released in a new D&D set just for this movie. So it sounded on the surface like they were doing everything right. They were doing their research. They were doing everything. So why do you have to come out like this and say no?
Yeah, this is this is a bad take. This is a dumb thing to say. I think I agree.
Like even if this was your goal is just to use D&D as a set dressing to tell your story, don't come out and say it publicly, especially before it comes out.
Yeah,
like what the hell?
Say it afterwards, right?
Yeah.
Here's
the
quote
to those of us who really do love the source material. That you're saying, "Oh, we don't care." Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Here's the
even if you want to say like we were respectful of the source material, we love the source material, and we put our own message in there. Like that makes way more sense than saying we don't really care about the source material. We just wanted it as a costume. Like that is a bad thing. That's a stupid idea.
Here's the direct quote. There's a lot before this, but this is the important part. They asked if they were able. So, do you want to? What level of storytelling do you want to do? to be able to do the kind of storytelling at the level you want to do it, do you feel you have to find a way into a franchise, or
Versus
can you just
writing.
write your own original story?
Mhm.
And she says, well, using existing IP certainly greases the wheels. Any meeting we have with a studio head starts with, here's 4 things we own. Got any interest? To some extent, I think we use intellectual property as a bit of a costume to get ourselves in the door. We are still going to make the movie we want to make, and it just makes it a little bit easier to get it going if it has something that people are very familiar with. That's what we've been saying for years.
Yep.
This actually, now having read a little bit more in this article that you just read with that, I have a glimmer of hope, because he, at this point, it doesn't sound like he's actually specifically talking about the D&D movie. He is talking about how that is being done in Hollywood a bunch. Every time that they go to a studio, the studio's like, here's some IP. Do you want to do something with it? And he's saying, this is what we've been doing, that Hollywood has been doing a lot. It doesn't bring me a lot of confidence saying that they're not doing it. So I'm not glowing like, oh, never mind, it's not a problem. But maybe I have a glimmer of hope. I don't know.
Was this taken from an interview discussing the film, or what
Yes.
was the source for this?
Yes, it's discussing the film.
Yeah, but again, looking at the way that it's phrased, I'm like, okay, it might not be as bad as it could be.
In that
It's probably
context,
gonna be better.
I honestly, I think it's worse, because they say that's
Yeah.
not only what we're doing for this film. He says all of
That's
our
what we've been
meetings
doing the whole
start out
time.
with this.
Yeah.
We start
I
out
mean,
with, oh, here's a list of our
listen to this
IP
quote.
properties. What
we learned
stories you want to tell in there?
What we learned doing Spider-Man: Homecoming was that while you do have to have a certain reverence and love for the source material, you can't let the weight of that thing hinder your creativity. You can't let the source material hinder your creativity. That's insane.
I don't know.
That's
I
an
don't know how they
insane
get
thing
that
to
from
say.
Spider-Man: Homecoming, though. That's
Yeah, it is kind of an odd one, but
The people made that movie too. So
I don't understand how they get that from. Like, I thought Spider-Man: Homecoming was, respected the source
Accurate.
material.
Yeah, accurate.
They learned the lesson doing that film. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. This doesn't make any sense.
It's horrible. There's more bad takes though. Let's move on. Cara Dune might have a bright Star Wars future ahead without Gina Carano portraying her. There's talks of recasting.
Oh, I was about to say, I hadn't heard any actual talks of recasting her, and I have actually kind of been respectful. Like, I've respected the fact that even though they're stupid in the way that they've removed her. Hey, at least they haven't tried to recast her. They've just said, all right, we're going to move on without it.
There's talks that she might be recast. So,
I think they're discussing all options, and from the
how
they handled her in there, they're leaving their doors open for sure.
The best option would be not firing someone for having a different opinion.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, David, you and Jared came to the show late, and you guys both missed my intro video. I did the thing. I did Teen Mando Squad.
Oh, it's so
Oh, you did?
So we'll play it later if you guys want to see it again.
Maybe
But
close it out
or
with
you
her,
can watch it tomorrow.
Okay.
But, yeah. Here we go.
We'll just watch it tomorrow.
Oh, I can watch it today right after the stream. We'll just rewind it.
Yeah. But I want to hear. I think we'll play it on the stream and unmute yourselves because I want to hear you guys laugh.
Sounds good.
Because you guys are the audience. No one's gonna watch it. You guys are the people that will find it funny.
I definitely
want you to post this, and I want that to go viral on your channel.
I would like it to. I don't think people even know what Homestar Runner is, though.
Unfortunately, but there is a group there somewhere.
David, this is the one that you were talking about. Jon Favreau shares why Grogu and Mando reunited so quickly on Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, right. Okay. I forgot it. I sent you this article.
I told you I had both of them pulled up.
Gotcha. So this is before.
See, I also have the YouTube video if you want to watch that one.
No, let's start with this one. So this is before. So we should have talked about this one first, and then the one we already talked about, and then the video. But that's fine. So this is before Mando season 3 came out. This is as Book of Boba Fett was releasing, and he did an interview talking about Boba Fett Grogu being reunited with Mandalorian, and
Uh-huh.
it's not super important other than if you find the actual quote, I don't remember where it was. I think it's that we could do a hard reset. Favreau told the Empire, it's going to be interesting for people who haven't seen. Yeah, so that's what I mentioned before. It's going to be interesting. People who haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett coming back into Mandalorian, and
What's
they're
up
already
with the Baby
reunited.
Yoda? Yeah.
So that was something. It was obviously, you could tell from the way he worded this,
But it
you
wasn't
could tell
his
that
decision.
it wasn't his decision. It was studio interference. Whether that's straight from Kathleen
It was,
Kennedy,
it
I
was
don't
straight from
care.
Kathleen Kennedy, yes.
It was
It's been
it was
confirmed.
not his decision to reunite Mando and Grogu. And then if you go to the YouTube video, there was an interview.
You gotta switch because it's got sound.
Where he, do you want to actually play it, or?
Yeah, I can play it.
Okay.
I don't know from where.
It's just I think that's too late in there.
Guess what? You can click buttons.
Nice.
You guys hear?
I think it's the first. I think it's the first question. You can go in like a minute in or something. Let's try there.
Does it show the person asking questions so we know?
No, it doesn't. It's just play from right there.
They're training.
Okay. Wait, sorry. Rewind just a little bit.
With Luke. Now we've been 2 years apart from him. There training. What's interesting is that as he chooses to return to his friend, the Mandalorian, because he's developed an attachment, it's interesting how that echoes in a way Luke's path when he was drawn to the attachment to his friends and how that helped shape the future.
He's said several different things though. Just recently, someone asked him on the street, "Oh, it's been like a half a year to 4 years."
Yeah,
that he was with.
That's the point.
He keeps changing his mind.
I think the original plan was it was supposed to be 2 years. Kathleen Kennedy stepped in and messed things up now, and you can see if you go back and watch again, Dave Filoni's just kind of like shaking his head, biting his lip. He's like,
that look that you see on his face right here is a little bit of a like.
Yeah, but it's just so. Apparently, they're trying to get across that he was with Grogu was training with Luke for 2 years. That does not come across in the show at all.
At all.
One bit.
It looks like he was there a week.
Yeah, exactly.
If that. It looks like he was there 2 days.
Yeah, and here you say,
I was being generous,
we
but
see
sorry.
in Boba Fett. Now I don't remember if it's here or another interview. He says we see in Boba Fett how Grogu is handling without Mando and how Mando is handling without Grogu.
No, we don't.
And they're not in a good spot. And so it was our decision to reunite them. It's like, no, we don't. We see one half of an episode of them not together, and it's just it just reeks of studio interference, and it's so upsetting because I was so excited for what Mandalorian season 3 was setting up after the finale of season 2.
Is that all you wanted from this video?
That's all I wanted. Yeah, that was the main thing. It's just basically they've confirmed that he's supposed to have been training with Luke for at least 2 years.
Yeah,
and it does not come across in the video in the series, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's
just studios, stop trying to interfere. Just let the storytellers tell good stories.
Yeah.
Stop
as long as the storyteller's not Dave Filoni, then sure, I'm with you.
I don't know, honestly. These last couple of episodes have been all Favreau, and I feel like it's Favreau. I mean, some of it's because Kennedy's messing up with him, but
again,
there's a certain level of like you have to take what you got coming
pieces
from
back
your
together.
And I don't think he's doing it very well.
Okay, there's one more Mandalorian one.
Again, it's like The Last Jedi picking up the slack from what was set up in The Force Awakens. Like,
you guys keep defending Dave Filoni, but
go ahead.
Dave Filoni just claimed that Luke Skywalker wasn't a Jedi.
Yeah, I saw that too. He also walked that back and said, "No, I misspoke."
I don't care. That's what he actually thought, though.
Alan's picking and choosing what he's going to listen to. What?
David, he didn't say that. He said it. It got backlash, and so he had to retract it. It's not. It was the repentance of someone who got caught.
No, what he was saying is that, and I agree with him, he is not a full Jedi in the sense of the old Jedi in the prequel trilogies and before the Old Republic. He was training for Yoda for just a little bit, and then Yoda
David
YOLOs,
in between
right?
books, in between movies 2 and 3, or sorry,
4 and 5.
4 and 5, he trains with Yoda significantly.
Yes.
No,
I agree.
Someone made the meme. Where does it say in the movies that that Luke Skywalker was a Jedi? And it's the Ben Shapiro meme. It's like in the name Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you. He is a Jedi, but
I agree he doesn't hold all of the Jedi traditions.
Exactly.
But he was a Jedi.
That's what he was going. When he comes back and he clarifies, he's like, that's kind of what I meant by saying this.
Because Filoni is also a big fan of the kind of mythology and the ideas behind, like, realizing that the Jedi had kind of gotten things warped around, and that Luke was probably, he loves the gray Jedi concept, this idea of these people who use the light side of the Force, but they're not as dogmatic as the Galactic Republic Jedi were that you see in the prequels. And so, like, that makes sense to me that's what he was referring to. He's like, he's not like, these other, Mace Windu or Ki-Adi-Mundi or whoever else from the prequels. He's an improvement to the next step on there. But yeah,
he's trying to pick up and rebuild the Jedi Order from knowing one Jedi and having impartial training, right? He is a Jedi, and that's what he originally gets around to.
And he has a good point here, straight from the source material. Yoda didn't confirm it. He said, "Oh, you think you're a Jedi? Not so fast." Until he confronted his father. Yeah,
right.
He says, "I was a Jedi like my father before me."
Mm-hmm. But that's him calling himself a Jedi. Why does he have the right to call himself? I mean, I agree that he became a Jedi at that point. I'm just saying.
When he goes back to Yoda, Yoda basically confirms, "Hey, there's no more that I can teach you. You're a Jedi, basically."
Well, the point is the way that,
and then he's like, "So that I am a Jedi," and Yoda says, "Wait a second, you still have to confront your father," and that's what then Ben confirms to him as well: is you need to confront your father.
The way that Dave Filoni talks about Star Wars makes him sound like a pretentious prick, and his body of work,
I agree, sometimes
mirrors that.
He is amazing. His body of work is amazing.
A lot of his interviews, he's always like, "Well, I trained under George Lucas." He always brings that up. I
trained under George. I trained under Yoda for 2 years, so I know all of the secrets of the Force. You're not a Jedi either, Dave Filoni. Your storytelling's weak.
I agree.
I give him a lot more. I give him a lot more ownership over Star Wars than anyone else that's involved, because he did train, quote unquote, train with George, and did a lot of work with it. And I've liked so much of his stuff way more than a lot of the other stuff that's come out.
I agree. I don't think he's infallible. I think he's made mistakes.
Well,
I really like his stories. I have his criticisms too. I don't think he's perfect. I think he holds on way too much to his pet characters, and he refused to let him die. I could go off of Dave Filoni all day.
But my point is too that, like, George just has those same problems too, and it's like, hey, they all have their problems, and if we don't get to keep George going on with it, which is not the worst thing, because he made his mistakes. Dave Filoni's probably the next best thing, because nobody else is doing it any better. Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams. I enjoyed those movies, but I enjoy Filoni's.
They weren't as
knowledgeable. Series way better.
Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, other people like Sam Witwer keeps interjecting his 2 cents on everything, all projects he's involved in. I have way more faith in them than anyone else directing.
I wildly prefer their 2 cents to anyone else's that I've heard.
100%.
To a Kathleen Kennedy that just cares about whether, like, oh, these Vespa things are they're merchandisable. Do them. No. Go ahead. Yeah, have fun with it.
Freddie Prinze Jr. keeps talking about it.
Yep. Yeah. I'm aware of that too.
I haven't paid any attention to what he's saying, but whatever.
It's not great.
That was a long time ago, though.
He gives off Dave Filoni wannabe vibes. Anyway,
So his whole thing is, I'm so close with Dave Filoni, who was so close with George Lucas, so I'm basically the next best thing.
By the transitive property. I am George Lucas.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's one more bad take, and then some memes, and then we can talk about Mandalorian. Peyton Reed is right. MCU kids don't realize how good they have it. Ant-Man 3 director Peyton Reed suggested some folks may take the MCU for granted, perhaps because kids have never known a world without Marvel movies. Be grateful. Eat your slop. There's nothing else around. How do you know that this doesn't taste good when you have no other options?
Because I enjoyed it, that's why.
Shut your mouth and conform. Consume content. It's good. Big Brother is always watching. Take the Soma. What's the
Soma? Yeah,
Brave Soma. Soma. Brave New
I think
World?
so. Brave New World. Yeah.
I think it's Soma.
Yes. Just another director not, not taking accountability for people not liking the show.
I'm well read. I've read Brave New World. Okay.
I read it a long time ago. I don't remember what that stuff was called.
Soma. Yeah, I googled it. I double checked.
I barely even remember that being a concept, but yeah, I remember we were talking.
I really like. I've been averaging like 2 books a week, and I really want to keep it up. This week, I was disappointed that I didn't finish my second book, and so it feels really good.
Listening through the Hatchet series this last week was really great because they're also like 2-hour books. And I listen to them on 1.5 speed.
Yeah.
So I go through them so fast compared to reading like Brandon Sanderson things that are like 12, 16 hours each.
Yeah.
This guy's just got his head so far up his own butt. And he's writing the next Avengers movie.
Well, Peyton Reed isn't. It's the writer of Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was not Peyton Reed.
I thought that's who this was. Who's Peyton Reed then?
He's the director, right?
Peyton Reed was the director,
Sorry.
but he didn't write it.
I thought he did.
The writer was, it's probably in there somewhere.
Peyton Reed, director Peyton Reed. Did he not also write it? Who's the writer?
No.
Sorry, they're both. No. They're both idiots. So.
Mania.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I don't think that the guy who wrote this, it doesn't look good for him. We'll see, but.
Showing.
Okay. Well, is Peyton Reed directing the Avengers then?
Jeff Love.
No, I don't think he's directing.
Oh, Jeff Love. That's it. Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I got it confused. I got him confused. They're both dicks.
Doesn't change your opinion.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Loveless is writing the Avengers movies. I don't know if Peyton Reed's ever gonna get work again, but we'll see. Anyway, here's some memes to cheer you up after that headache of a bad take. Here are 7 telltale signs your newborn baby is a racist. It's a good one.
Blonde hair, blue eyes,
good
white skin. No.
Wow.
Have you and your loved one had a baby recently? We hate to say this, but you may have just brought a white supremacist into the world. I love the Babylon Bee so much. They were on fire. I have 4 memes from them because I couldn't choose. Just an idea burns down Atlanta.
Yep.
That's a good one. It's a good one. Meghan Markle inspires millions of young girls with message that no matter how famous, rich, and powerful they are, they will always be oppressed.
It's almost like you don't know the definition of the word.
Yeah. The last one here is man still basking in glow of never getting sucked into that show Lost.
Right here.
Never watched it.
I watched 4 episodes.
I watched one random episode and I was lost.
I watched the first 4 episodes because my cousin had them on DVD, and when I was at my grandma's house, I watched the first 4 episodes, and I didn't. It was intriguing. Yeah, it starts off real interesting.
Yeah, I watched them all. wasted a lot of.
JJ's graded a mystery box. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, part of me always thinks, hey, maybe I should just watch that show Lost, and then I
To know what it is. Yeah.
don't.
But how much I have heard about the way
watch
how
Fringe.
disappointing the ending was.
Fringe is so much better.
Yeah.
Except, but the last season of Fringe is just terrible.
It's not as bad as Lost, though. So
Even hearing what I've heard about, like the ending of Game of Thrones, like I'm still interested in watching that in spite of the ending, because there are some people that liked it, a lot of people that hated it. It was awful, whatever. But like I'm still interested in watching that as opposed to like Lost, with everything that I've heard about how just all over the place the ending for that was, and nonsensical and idiotic it was. Like, I'm not going to bother. I'm intrigued by what was the mystery, but hearing that the mystery was just so bungled by the end, I'm like, never mind. I'm not going to bother.
It's just purgatory. They were dead the whole time, I guess.
But then they repeatedly say it's not purgatory. They're not dead, and then that's what it ended up being.
Yeah.
It's an excuse to not answer all of those other dangling plot lines that they just couldn't tie up because they didn't have a reason when they put them in.
Yeah.
That's the mystery box for you. Mystery box works if you have an answer that's interesting, but not if you don't.
Speaking of somebody who has mystery boxes with answers inside of them.
Oh, nice.
Finally got.
Oh, Jared, show me your box. Show it to me, baby.
What's in the box?
So it's not Secret Project 1, unfortunately, because since they're backed up with the shipping even to the backers for Secret Project 1,
it's not
this is a Secret Project 2, or not Secret Project 2, but it's the second box. It's the February
What's
box.
the Hoyd box?
The Hoyd box, right? So it was a lot of fun finally getting that, and I got this little note from Dragonsteel and some stickers with Hoyd on them, where they specifically say, like, tell us where you put them, but don't be vandalism. Don't do vandalism. Which was really kind of funny. It's like, this is for sticking in places, but don't stick it in places. Which I thought was awesome. And then I got this shirt, which was pretty sweet. Hoyd for president.
You're wearing a white
Very
shirt.
nice, very nice. I got a little pin of Hoyd. Oh, there we go. And some sticky notes, fun stuff. So, and a mouse pad with Hoyd. Very beautiful artwork on there.
Nice. Yeah, I like that artwork.
We're close to book 2, right? That comes out next month.
Yeah,
it's insane.
And actually, this Tuesday, I'm going to, since I again wasn't able to actually get in on the project, I'm going to be able to purchase the third box coming up.
Cool.
This thing. And so Stephen Burt mentioning digital is where it's at. I'm buying it so that I get the digital as well, but I want the physical book so that I can see the beautiful artwork, and I want to read the physical book.
Yeah,
physical media is important. Like I'm scared that someday, Steam's going to shut down, then I won't own any games. Right?
I know.
Like, yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, speaking of people who pay off what they have in their boxes,
is Secret Project 2 the one that's not part of the Cosmere?
I think so. I can double check that.
I think that's what it is. I think it's the Wizard one.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
It could be good. Anyway, Mandalorian season 3 sucks.
I'm gonna head out because, like I said, I haven't watched The Mandalorian and I'm not planning on watching that show. F Baby Yoda, I hate that guy.
Well, maybe wait till he's of age, but
apparently
we don't do that on this show.
Okay, guys, see you the next weekend.
I thought we were we just complaining that Hollywood doesn't see pedophilia as evil?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, David?
Okay. Seriously,
see you guys.
See you. Everyone go subscribe to Max's channel. This is great.
Yes, please. Bye.
So
see you next week.
This episode
is so bad.
Makes last episode even worse with the whole IG-11. We have to get IG-11. We have to get IG-11.
And then you don't.
And then being like,
my favorite part.
This part for IG-11. No, just take this guy.
My favorite part is that we got to watch everything twice. It's the same thing. They even pause to have conversations in the same places. It's just, we don't like. What are they? There's no direction. It's hey, this is the thing. It was boring the first time, and we're going to make you watch the entire thing again.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad with that part, but gosh. And there was a good chunk of time where I thought that thing that had that captured Din was they were gonna say it was some like surviving fraction of General Grievous, and I'm like, no, please, no. Luckily, I think they did. I think that they did steer clear of that, even though it was kind of like that. Okay, so what was this? I don't know.
I agree.
But it didn't become offensive to me.
I wish Disney Plus didn't also have all of the Disney classics, so that I can show my kids the Disney classics. That's the problem.
And I will basically always have Disney Plus, if only for that reason.
Yeah.
But I also I still love like.
But I agree. I would not be
really
supporting this.
I still really enjoyed some pieces of this, but the story of it is so all over the place.
My favorite part is how it made Din Djarin just look completely incompetent.
Yes.
So here's the one thing that I want to throw back on that a little bit, because yes, he gets defeated, he gets beaten up a lot, but that has been consistent from the beginning, and that puts him in the same vein of a hero as Indiana Jones, who is constantly getting beaten up until he's able to get that last punch in that's the right thing and able to overcome it.
My favorite part, though, is that they brought in Bo-Katan to do the same thing, and she's like talking the whole time, like knowing that there's something dangerous, and is like yelling, like, "Hey, let's not be cautious at all. Tell me about your relationship with your father." Like,
what 100%? Yeah.
It was so stupid. It was just like, hey, she's got to go save him, I guess.
So, Jared, you were saying that it's reminiscent of Indiana Jones, who's always getting beat up and captured. Yeah, sure. But Indiana Jones put up a fight before.
Yeah.
Both times here with the
knocked out
the Grievous thing, he's just immediately knocked out and sedated, and then with the Mythosaur at the very end, he's just gone out of it.
Well, and that one I'm still confused by, and I think that maybe I'm not thinking that, but I hope that there might be some kind of an answer in that. But I don't think it was the Mythosaur just totally knocked him out. I think he just sank randomly really fast.
Can we all agree that Mythosaur is the most lazy name since Unobtainium?
That's original.
That's old.
I don't
old
care.
news,
I
though,
still
and
hate
I'm
it.
fine with that.
I don't like it.
It's fine.
I'm fine with it. It was cool to see a Mythosaur.
It's a
although
lazy
I'm still a
name.
little confused by it, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was great that it's there. I love all the stuff that they're doing with Mandalore, all the intrigue around it, but how they get there and the structure of this episode was a complete mess. I even liked the General Grievous-like bug thing. I thought the design of it was really cool.
It was cool.
I enjoyed that whole thing. I just thought, what? I mean, it was just so convoluted. They go through this whole thing, and then Baby Yoda Grogu has to go back, and then
come back with
Bo-Katan,
who was like, gosh, let's get rid of this guy. Oh, he's in trouble? Oh. And I mean, it was a little bit better because it does kind of present the like, oh, he did get to Mandalore and it's okay, which, again, has nobody tried getting to Mandalore before? Like,
I know, right?
Yeah.
And nobody even sent a probe droid down to take atmospheric readings.
But Bo-Katan straight up said she'd been there before. In episode 1, when I took all my people and they were all wiped out.
No, that was something else. That was a different thing. She might have said that last season that she'd been there.
She did specifically say she knows that Mandalore is not cursed, right?
Yeah, but in episode 1, she didn't say that she'd been to Mandalore. She was starting to talk like she hadn't been to Mandalore. She was about to go back to Mandalore, but yeah. Anyway, the thing that's also really frustrating is
only a Sithosaur deals with poor names. That's good. That's a good one. Go on.
But the other thing that's like frustrating and like because I get they want to sell stuff. They want merchandising. Like, I get it. Yes, that's fine. So there was a great opportunity to explore taking, instead of trying to go back to IG-11, instead of deciding to go back to R5, that for some reason that's the way that they want to do it. You have a beautiful opportunity that you got from season 2 from that same lady that gave you R5, that little BD droid, that droid that came from no, not BB-8, BD. It's BD-1 is the droid, but it's a little backpack. Like it's an explorer droid. It's literally an explorer droid, and it is tied to another property that was wildly successful. It is a cute little robot thing, way cuter than R5 or IG-11. It is a perfect example, and it is literally for exploring.
Yep.
That would have been such the perfect thing for him to think, even if he wanted to think, man, can I get IG-11? Because I bonded with him. We even see Din bonding with this BD droid on Tatooine when they're building the N1 retrofit thing. And you could have, like, if you wanted to spend a couple of episodes, it was frustrating to me that they were deciding we need to, like, delay getting to Mandalore a couple episodes. Oh wait, we're only going to delay one episode, but we're going because this idea of IG-11. I got another.
Not only that, but with the ship customization too. They're like, oh, this ship used to have a droid port. Oh, let's get rid of the droid port so that Grogu can have his own little.
Oh, let's put the droid port back in.
Let's put the droid port back in. Like, what?
Where the heck does Grogu go? Like, I mean, I guess he can kind of sit on his lap, but then when he's like, "Oh, go back in and seal yourself in your pod," I'm like, "What pod? Like that was taken up by the droids again? Oh, maybe the little pod thing, but how did that? Where is it?
Dude, the amount of times they backtracked in this episode, like Din Djarin went in, then backtracked, and then went in again, and then we had to see. It was just like it was called Backtrack the movie.
It wasn't the greatest storytelling.
It felt like a video game, right?
You know,
no, it was worse.
100%.
And season 2 did a lot of video gamey stuff, and I was totally on board for it. But this one felt like lazy video gaming stuff. Whereas the
it
other
even
one,
backtracked into episode 1, like with the Bo-Katan. Oh, go and get Bo-Katan. She said no. Why is her opinion changed now? She said I'm not interested, and then he goes and now she's interested.
Apparently actually did land on Mandalore and proved.
But she knew that it. I don't understand how anything has changed. Also, can we agree
in
that
episode 1 of
those creatures on Mandalore looked absolutely awful? Here, I pulled up a picture of them. They look so bad. Yeah. Oh wait, no, sorry. Oh, these are the Morlocks. These are the Morlocks from the Time Machine. Let me pull up the picture of them. That's the same thing, man.
You know, honestly,
come on,
it's better, but boy,
come on, right?
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the other thing that frustrates me as I'm looking at this upcoming season with like what they've done with this so far. So they did the IG-11 thing in episode 1, and they leave the end of episode 1 being like, oh, I need to go get a part for IG-11. And so you start episode 2 saying, I'm looking for this part. Oh, never mind. Don't even worry about it. We're going to send you with R5. And he just accepts that, whereas he didn't in the first episode. Yeah. So it makes this IG-11 plot point look like just nothing, because it wasn't even resolved. They didn't even really convince him. They didn't sit there and say, are you like, no, you really can't get that. Fine. Here's R5. Are you okay with that? Fine. I guess I'll do R5. I guess I don't need IG-11. You don't have to go into a huge, big, long thing with that, but you should be able to resolve the IG-11 thing to move on to R5.
I think he's going to come back at the end.
Feels like a dangling thread. And what scares me, because it was a dumb thread to have to begin with, and if they're going to dangle it, it's also really dumb. But what's even worse is I bet you they're not going to leave it dangling. Yep. They're gonna pretend like it's Chekhov's gun and have it come back somehow.
They're gonna come across the parts that they need, and they say, "Oh yeah, this is the part that I need for IG-88," and they're gonna go back and revive him for some reason.
For some other reason.
I don't know why. Why? You're destroying his character arc for one.
Yeah.
And two, there's no purpose for reviving him. Like the only purpose I could ever see is if there was some like important data that was like in his memory chip or something that they need to extract for information.
But they need to
That's
give him
the
a new
only
memory
reason.
Chip. But they're giving him a new memory chip.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Oh, and it's just it's like this idea of like, oh, the writing on it was just so bizarre. Of like, I need to get IG-11. No, I don't need IG-11. I can go with this thing because that thing actually can scan the atmosphere and oh, it's we're clear to go. Why? I tried to bring Bo-Katan, but now she won't come. But then I'll send Grogu back when I'm in trouble, and then she'll come. I was just like, to me, I'm still loving most of the production quality on the show. I'm still loving the characters. I'm still loving being in the Star Wars world. Mandalore looked really cool. Most of what you see when you're flying in was cool. And I was really excited seeing Bo-Katan's ship. I love that ship design. It is such a cool ship design.
It's one of my favorite designs.
I loved seeing that. But the writing of the story and how it's going is so like it's letting it down, and it's undercutting such cool things that are there. And again, I've said before, I love Star Wars. I'm going to stick to it because I love Star Wars, and I'm just going to keep loving it. And I'm even going to accept the crap. Feed me the crap Star Wars, because as long as it's Star Wars flavored crap, I'll take it. But I can still tell you that it's crap flavored Star Wars, and want it to be better.
Yeah.
Anyway,
100%.
Sorry, I blew over you trying to bring up that comment because I do like that comment, but I wanted to finish my point.
I do hope that Brandon Sanderson's movie is safe.
I agree. I hope so, and I think so, as long as he's able to keep himself involved.
Anyway, yeah, this episode was just garbage. It was so boring. Nothing happens, and I hated it. And back to the thing of just making Din Djarin just look stupid the entire time. The episode ends with him just. It was confusing when I watched it. Yes. It looked like some creature pulled him down, right?
Yes. To me, it looked like he just stepped off of a ledge.
And then I read the actress for Bo-Katan was doing an interview, and she said, "Oh, it was really great. I got to save him from accidentally falling into the lake." Nothing. So, like, I can't find the quote now. I'm looking for it, but he wasn't pulled down by a creature. He's just a moron and accidentally jumped into a lake with full armor.
Oh, he took his jetpack off. I was going to say he could just fly out, but no, he took his jetpack off.
It was
somehow he sunk so dumb fast because she immediately jumps in. And
right, it doesn't make sense that he wasn't
already at the bottom.
If he was just sinking, she'd be able to catch up and pull him back. But it implied that he was pulled down, and then in the interview they're like, "No, he just tripped."
See, and I didn't even pick up on an idea of him being pulled down. It looked to me like he just stepped off a ledge.
But she's like going she's not even going straight down. She's like going diagonal and like exploring, and she like that would make sense if he was pulled.
Right.
But if he just tripped, he's gonna go straight down.
Maybe it
was moronic.
Maybe Katie Sackhoff was wrong, and they'll say in the next episode that he got pulled down, or like he stepped off and then got pulled down or something.
Yeah.
It still doesn't look good. It was not well edited and flowed together.
It was also even though it didn't bother me, place to end the episode too. It's just like, oh, they saw the mythosaur credits.
Seeing the mythosaur and credits, I think is cool, but with the rest of it that's going on, I'm like, I like the fact that we see a mythosaur and then end credits, but
yeah, I agree. I just think it was just super lame how it came across. Like Din Djarin did nothing in this episode. He has to get rescued by Bo-Katan twice in the same episode.
Yeah,
it's like what the crap.
Martina's point is his Beskar was just heavier, maybe.
What was
maybe it doesn't really seem to make a ton of sense because, but there does seem to be different kind. Like his is a silvery, chromy Beskar, but hers is painted kind of like his old suit was from the very beginning of season 1. Yeah. His seemed like a different thing that maybe wasn't Beskar, but maybe it was.
We do know that some Mandalorian armor isn't pure Beskar; it's a Durasteel alloy,
which would make sense.
But still, it doesn't make sense. It's super clunky,
to give you that idea that it is actually not Beskar.
And Boba Fett's armor was supposed to be Durasteel, but then they retcon that in the Boba Fett series and say no, it's
also
Beskar.
The General Grievous thing. What was he doing to Din Djarin? He was.
It looked like he was extracting his blood. So I took it.
But it didn't look like blood. That's what I thought. It was like, okay, he's taking his blood. And then it shows like sparkly bubbles going through these tubes. And like, is he siphoning his midichlorians? Like, what is going on? The dialogue in this episode was so clunky because they needed to explain what was going on. So they had Din Djarin talking to baby Grogu the whole time and dictating all of his actions in a an amazing display of tell, don't show, right? Oh, I'm doing this and this and this. And then the one thing that I wanted explained is just glossed over.
I agree. Yeah. I will say though that this episode looked really good. Aside from those terrible trolls, everything else looked really good. Like
they
the
were by far the
Grievous
worst
creature,
thing.
the Mythosaur looked really good. The CGI with the jetpack in the water looked really good. The Cybertron spider thing looked really good.
The spider was pretty cool too.
One thing I was really impressed with though is it actually showed a shot of Baby Yoda, Baby Grogu walking, and it didn't look absolutely ridiculous. They really nailed that.
Yeah.
It didn't look like he was just waddling around, and it didn't look like he was just a puppet. Whatever. There was one shot that it did that, and it looked really good. I was like, wow, they really pulled that off. It doesn't look like a puppet or CGI. It looks real. It was great. But like, what are they doing with the story? It's just so disconnected.
Yeah, and sorry, I think I started to say this, but I don't think I got it out. Your frustration with the repeat, the like back and forth, it didn't bother me as much, but I do agree that still does, like the way it was presented spoke to me of poorly written, of like, we need this to happen, and then we need this, and then back and forth. I'm okay with some back and forth, but it didn't come across great. It was by far, it did not bother me nearly as much as the like, you're doing the setup with IG-11, and then you divert for a while, and that thread is dangling, and you're gonna pick it back up and make it pretend like it was a Chekhov's gun that's gonna come back, and it still makes no sense, even if you Chekhov's gun it. Like,
especially with Bo-Katan going in to rescue him, right? Grogu is supposed to be leading her to the Mandalorian, but so many times she's leading the way. Like, she jumps off the thing first, she starts walking the same direction. Like, Grogu's not leading her there, right? And
he was a great guide.
And then like you said, when they get close, like, she's not even trying to be stealthy. They're talking at full volume. They both have their flashlights on. It's like, this isn't a rescue mission, you know?
Sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. I think you guys are just finally seeing what I've known for 2 seasons, that the Mandalorian is mid-tier. Mandalorian is mid-tier entertainment. They had 2 good episodes, and the rest is mid.
Mandalorian 1 and 2 were freaking fantastic.
This is the same quality it's always been. Nothing's changed.
No, not at all.
I went back and I watched
so much better until now.
Go watch the prison escape episode that you claim to like so much, and tell me that is better quality than this.
It's way 100%. Better quality.
I would take this episode over that episode any day.
The writing on that one may not have been the best of that season.
It's not the writing; it's the choreography. It's the choreography. We're gonna show a guy walking down the hall, and then we're gonna turn the lights off, and Din Djarin's gonna be behind him. He's gonna knock him out, and then we're gonna go to the next guy, and we're using the same hall but from a different angle because we only built a tiny set. And then Din Djarin's gonna be behind him, and he's gonna do that. And then Din Djarin's gonna end up behind someone else. And there's it's not even a fight scene. It's not even a story. It's just Din Djarin being a magical can teleport behind people, and that's somehow interesting.
That's the conceit of that episode of him just like showing off how intimidating he is, and I like that's totally fine.
100%. And I can agree. It's not the strongest episode, but I still liked it.
Yeah. It's still miles better than this one.
And that crazy lady can't act for beans, but
I don't love her, but she's grating on me less than she did at the beginning.
Oh, I was talking about the tentacle lady in the episode. I was still complaining.
That one was weird. She was weird.
I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
She's trying her best bad Joker impersonation.
It was fine.
Oh. But Martina, I did appreciate your joke. The scarcity of supply. Yeah. All the Mando rotisseries. It's good stuff.
This show's always been mid-tier. Fight me.
Oh, I will.
The episodes that are good are really good. There's 2 per season that are just like, oh, friggin' amazing.
And the other 6 to 8 of them or whatever per season are really, really solid.
And then there's 2 that are garbage.
2
that get down not as great as the other ones, but still
garbage.
Yeah, fantastic.
You cannot tell me you enjoyed the choreography between Ahsoka and Chinese lady.
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was lacking. That was a criticism that I had. But I
wasn't
still enjoyed the
amazing.
episode overall.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Worst fight scene in Star Wars. Fight me.
Better than the Boba Fett fight scenes?
Yes. Boba Fett was better.
No,
the only scene that was better in Boba Fett was when he crashed the bar or whatever.
Bar fight was good.
The bar fight was good. Everything else in Boba Fett was absolute dog crap.
You guys want to watch
There's
Team?
so much like potential in there, even with the story that they wanted to tell of him changing or growing or becoming part of a family, but they just botched it and made it so nonsensical with the back and forth.
You guys want to watch Team Mando Squad?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
So
one criticism that you got wrong. IG-11 sacrifice was the end of season 1, not season 2.
Yep.
It was the closing
It was
episode.
season 1.
Yep.
You're right. I don't care.
That was the one criticism that I had.
I don't care enough about the show to.
But it's good.
Okay, so it's gonna automatically mute you, but I want you to unmute because no one else will appreciate this video. So I want to hear you guys react and laugh to it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. This is Teen Mando Squad. Sorry if you're still watching the show, you have to watch it twice. I worked.
You're welcome.
I don't know. You guys didn't hear this. I worked. This is the hardest I've ever worked on a video. I was working on this video until 6 o'clock in the morning today. And I started at like 6 o'clock Saturday. We got home around 5.
Nice.
Ate dinner while I started it. I started it earlier too, but there was some
12 hours.
Okay,
let's see it.
Okay, unmute your mics after the video starts.
I'm impressed. Let's see it.
It's good.
Previously on Team Mando Squad. I really want everyone to be nice to each other. Twitter is no place for a mighty warrior. Cancelled! But Pedro Pascal was comparing all Trump supporters to Hitler! Teen Mando Squad! Din Djarin, Grogu, Grief Karga, Cara Dune! Listen, gals, ever since I took off my helmet, you're a Mandalorian no more! We've got to retake Mandalore! This is so the way! We 3 can go to Mandalore! Gina, you can go to hell! Or the Daily Fire! Before we go, how about we get some help from Bo-Katan? I bought you the Darksaber! I don't want it! Oh, my marketability! We'll worry about that one later. Meanwhile, I'm gonna make a Western. Okay, gals, let's get ready to get so baptized!
In the waters of Mandalore, specifically.
Kathleen Kennedy brought me back. I've freed myself from the corporate overlords. Haters. Our ratings are totally low rising. True that. True that. What's your problem? You fired me? This is the way. Now let's alienate the fans we have left. Ready? Luke is by! I'm glad I'm out. The next time on Team Mando Squad. Or, the Book of Boba Fett. I finally have my own show! Oh no, I've been sidelined! You found the Sarlacc pit. You're slowly digested over 1,000 years. Ooh,
Doesn't canon mean anything to these people?
I bet you thought I wouldn't be in season 3.
Senior prank. Senior prank. Why G11 sacrificed himself in season 2?
I like that.
Senior prank.
I need a droid I can trust to help me explore Mandalore. And he's that droid.
Technological romance.
Love this.
A little help down here. Maybe some blue milk.
Yes.
My jetpack. I guess I'll die.
It's over.
Well
Oh
done,
my
bro.
God.
That was so good. That's gold.
Wow.
It took me 12 hours to make.
Oh,
I
God.
mean, you did really well, even with like the type. It looks just like the right type.
I
too.
found the font.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
My gosh, that's impressive. That's impressive.
So good.
Yeah, that's so good, man. Oh,
Gina!
I hope that-
You can go to hell. Or the Daily Wire.
I love
get
the
ready to
I
get
love the little
so
details
back
you
up.
added. I love the details you added too, like the little shopping bags. It's like
Yeah.
Luke again. Or,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they went shopping for ideas. There was Luke again, Ahsoka ?
Yeah.
And the other one was I can't
OG
remember.
remake, I think.
OG remake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know, did you pull lots of it from the old show? Because there was even the bit where you had the bird in the background get
Yes.
hit randomly.
Yes. So most of that is a direct parody of episode 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
That's basically the plot of episode 3. I
'cause I remember they
added
get the ugly
scenes
one
from
and
other
yeah.
episodes in the previously on and the next time on because I wanted to get those jokes in. But I thought episode 3 worked the best for the casting Gina Carano aside for her sins.
That was so good.
Yeah.
The only the good Twitter is no place for a mighty warrior.
Haters. Like that was so good. Like
Cancel.
really well done.
But yeah, and there were a couple scenes at the beginning from other episodes that I put into the story. But yeah, it was basically a translation of episode 3, and yeah, the sun turns into a buzzsaw and kills the birds, and so I turned it into the Death Star and killed the birds.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah,
They
it was really
that
good.
sort of like thing that happens in the background after the scene is done. Like, it just brought back those feels of like, oh, I remember just how ridiculous and fun this was.
I think I even like sped up the pace. I think I paced it like too fast.
Yeah,
but
no, it was still really good. Like I think it was paced pretty darn well.
I think like compared to the original, like it's a little bit slow.
Yeah. I'm just saying like it worked. I don't think it felt too fast or anything for what it was.
Yeah.
It was good.
And then the Baby Yoda gets stabbed with the dark saber.
Yeah.
And then,
my marketability!
when I brought her back, like I added like stitches that she'd been
Oh,
sewed
I
back
didn't
up.
notice that. Yeah. Yeah, it was so good, bro.
Because the original line is
My stomach lining.
because she gets MSG.
MSG.
Yeah,
And then
I remember that.
she comes back, like it shows her dead on the ground, but then it says,
My
She's back.
stomach feels better now.
or something like that. You know?
Yeah.
So I was like,
Yeah.
I got to add a little like, she was stabbed, brought back to life by Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
I
that
liked
was
it a lot.
That was
fan
awesome.
freaking tastic.
Yeah,
Well done, bro.
I worked real hard.
Yeah,
It's so
I
niche.
hope-
It's so niche, though. No one
Yeah,
knows.
Those
Even
that
if
know
you
it
don't
will
know
know it
the
and
original.
love it.
even if you don't know the original, though, it's still freaking funny on its own.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So I hope the single video you post tomorrow will do well. 'Cause,
I hope so too.
damn, that's funny.
That was harder to make than any of the devoid of logics.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, you were really.
In fact, I'm calling it devoid of logic, hoping I can get some of the same people to watch.
Yep.
Because it kind of brings in a little bit of that at the end.
A little bit, yeah. No.
Nice.
Oh, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that's the important part.
Yep.
Let's go to Mandalore. Gina, you can go to hell.
We're gonna get so baptized.
Oh man. Yeah, I tried to work in the I can take off my helmet instead of I can take off my shirt. But like the dialogue around that scene just really didn't work as well. And so,
Yeah.
it was a lot of it was a lot aside from making it, like scripting it took forever.
I bet
Trying to get all the like I had to watch all of Teen Girl Squad like 6 times.
Oh,
just trying to find like the best way to do it.
Yeah, I know. I texted him right after we finished Last of Us, and he's like, "Bro, I didn't watch Last of Us. I'm watching Teen Girl Squad." I'm like, "Yeah, of course you are."
Yeah, weirdly enough, I didn't start watching it last week either. I didn't watch it until like Thursday.
Yeah.
I watched Mandalorian yesterday, so that was all from episode 1.
Yep. No, that was.
I literally I finished it. I finished at 6 o'clock in the morning, and because I was still like hyped up, I watched Mandalorian episode 2 and then went to bed.
Yep.
And I woke up for church and then slept all day and then woke up for this.
Nice. Worth it.
I hope so. I hope people watch it. Oh, that's what's like the reviews, the book reviews I've been doing. They take longer to do, and it's like I want to keep doing them, but like they don't get views. But I'm gonna commit to it.
Yeah, just got to keep pushing on. I'll repost this on all social media, all over the place. I'm gonna keep pushing it because it's comedy gold, bro. It's so
also
good.
say keep doing what you enjoy doing because that'll make it that much easier.
Oh, it was fun. It was just
doing
time consuming. That's the thing with the I like doing the devoid of logics. They just take so long, and then I kept putting off doing the Willow ones because I was like, it's so much work and no one was watching it. As much as I love doing it, like it was pre-taxing. I still want to finish that. I think I'll like just wrap up the rest of the season in one episode and do and then do the one where showing all of the things it ripped off from other movies. But
yeah,
I don't know if I'll ever get to those. I want to, but yeah. So that's that. That's Teen Mando Squad.
I'm glad you did it.
Good job.
Yeah.
Oh, the other funny thing is though, to fit the gag at the beginning, I needed to use Grief Karga, even though he wasn't in the story at all. I used the blacksmith instead of his character. But that's my favorite. My favorite gag is the one that's hidden, because you'd always have the characters introduced at the beginning, and there was a tagline that was different for each one. But my favorite one from the original show was when they go to the beach, and it's it's the cheerleader, a one-piece suit, so and so, a two-piece suit, so and so, same old clothes, the ugly one, a three-piece suit, and she's like, that was the best gag ever.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought you did really well. Is that even with all of yours, like all of those little things were different, and
yeah, so it was it was Din Djarin, not Boba Fett.
Yeah,
Grogu, not Baby Yoda. Grief Karga, not Lando Calrissian. And then Cara Dune, not in the show anymore.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Well done. Cool. All right.
Can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's why I did the before and after, so I could get in all of the other jokes. Because like episode 3 translated perfectly, to the Cara Dune message, but also to like the story of season 3. And I watched all of them so many times. Yeah, like I had to. The Sarlacc pit is a good joke, but it has nothing to do with what's happening in the Mandalorian right now. So it had to be in the before and after sequence. So I literally don't think there are any other jokes possible. Yeah. I scrubbed through it so much, and I'm like, okay, season 3 is the obvious parallel
Aside from
and then all of the other jokes that I want to get in will be in the before and after.
That's good. It was good.
Yep.
So
Well done.
I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, because if it takes off, maybe I'll do an episode 2. But like, how? I don't know.
Yeah.
Original content.
Yes.
Yeah. Just make your own.
It was fun to do, though. I might do an episode 2. I don't know.
Yeah. Anywho, it's been fun. I'm not looking forward to the season finale of Last of Us.
Oh,
It's-
no.
Guys, it's followed
right
the game like really closely.
Yeah, we didn't. Did we get any of your thoughts on that?
No,
I mean, no,
enjoyed
we've talked
Wade.
about it. We don't need to
No,
go too
yeah,
far, but
you guys had already talked, but it follows it pretty closely.
I will say, I think the biggest problem, and I said this before, is the ending of the game requires you to care about Ellie's character. And I do not care about this version of Ellie. And when the decisions have to be made in the final episode, it's going to feel like he's making the wrong choice to me.
You're like,
It's
just
not
sacrifice
going.
her.
It's not going to be effective.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
She is. It's we need a term for it. I'm just sticking with the Galadriel effect, but it's every single female character is written this way now, and I hate all of them.
Yep. Yep.
Well, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna be watching it. I'm mostly still enjoying it, but
Yeah, me too. I've been enjoying it.
It's a
Jared Power.
Woo!
Um,
we gotta push the Bentleys back.
No, like I'm watching it because I'm reviewing it. But if
I know.
if it weren't for the channel, I'd be done.
I know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So next week is the finale of that, and the Mandalorian goes on for a while now. I forget what else is coming up, but yeah, man, movies suck right now. Yeah, that was it.
Yep.
Invincible season
Still a
2 doesn't
couple
come out
weeks
until
before we
like
get into-
July-ish.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, a couple weeks from now, we'll have Dungeons and Dragons that we could talk about if you do go see it.
When does that come out?
how it goes, but
I don't want to see it.
'cause it's a couple weeks out, not too far.
The writers hate me, so why would I want to go see it?
Yeah.
Writers don't even like Dungeons and Dragons. They're using it as a skin suit. It's Edgar in a skin suit. It's an Edgar suit. Except it's Dungeons and Dragons. And then they'll throw in some reference to D&D, some deep cut, and then they'll go, "Is that better?"
See, there's your next me minute. Get on at it.
Idea.
Men
Might
in
do that.
Black, modern day screenwriting.
Yeah, skin suit.
I don't know.
Actually, that could be a good parallel. And let me pull
Yeah.
that article back up. It was Variety, right? No. Yeah.
You just do a Screen Rant,
Yeah.
what do you call it? Pitch meeting type of thing where you have the article at the very end. Reference.
If you guys wanted to learn about Cocaine Bear, go watch the Cocaine Bear pitch meeting. It's pretty accurate. Oh, and actually, there's even more convolution with the human character storylines in there.
Well, I'm done. You guys have anything else to say?
Nope.
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching it. I like doing the show. It's a lot of fun. Make some better movies though, so we can talk about better movies. And I'm next week. I hope to be able to read Children of the Mind and finish my Terry Pratchett book.
Nice.
I'll probably be going through Hitchhiker's Guide series and seeing if I can get into Ender's Game by then, because I'm still waiting on a couple of them to come through.
Nice. I just finished Eye of the World and moving on to the second Wheel of Time book. So,
did I already complain about Foundation on this show?
I feel like you
TV
did a
show.
couple weeks ago, 3 or
The
4
TV show.
2 weeks ago.
You mentioned a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's
I
frustrating.
don't remember.
Well, because now that I've read Foundation, looking back at the TV show, I never watched it, but looking at the production, like they straight up like it's the opposite of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved Foundation so hard. I'm gonna keep reading the rest of those eventually, but the whole point of Foundation series is that psychohistory is a new science that allows people to predict the future, but it doesn't work on individuals. So like the more individual choice people have, the worse the predictions will be. So the predictions work on mass populations. The scientist comes up with this psychohistory, new math, and he's able to predict social phenomenon. And he predicts that the empire is going to collapse within the next 100 years, and the world, the galaxy will be thrown back into the Dark Ages. And so he creates the Foundation, which is a group of scientists, and their goal is to at first they say it's to stop that from happening, but in reality it's to speed up recovery. Like he realizes there's no way to stop society from collapsing, and so the group of scientists change. Like the Dark Ages would have lasted for thousands of years, and because of their intervention, they're able to make it only last 100 years, and they become the bringer. They save the galaxy basically.
That's a cool premise. I like that. The book takes place. It skips a lot of time. I think they can. Sorry, it's supposed to. Dark Ages was supposed to last 10,000 years, and because of Harry Seldon's intervention, they can save the galaxy. It'll only last 1,000 years. So the book covers 500 years of history. The second book covers the next 500, and every other chapter, you're introduced to new characters 50 years down the line whose parents died, right? So you get the children and their children's children, and it keeps skipping. And the whole thing is Harry Seldon boxed these people into a corner so that they aren't able to make individual choices. And there's only one way to solve each crisis. They're called Seldon crises. It's a genius book. It's incredible. And the TV show goes the opposite direction, decides to just have a cast of characters follow you the whole time, and they don't skip forward in future. They skip maybe 20 years. And so they don't do any of that. And they have repeated conversations with the main character who was gender swapped and race swapped to be a black woman. And they tell her, Harry Seldon believed that one person can change the course of history. They keep telling her how important she is. That's the opposite of the book. Yeah.
In the books, he eliminates personal choice so that his model can be more accurate. He forces society into going down these paths where there's only one possible solution. And the TV show is the direct opposite of the books. It's horrible. It pisses me off, and I will never watch that show.
Yeah, it's the chosen one syndrome that is popular, and you get to have a star.
Not the point of the books!
Exactly. Yeah, they got caught up with the popular chosen one syndrome.
Read Foundation, dude. It's super freaking good. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm gonna read some books because that's the only thing that's good. There's nothing good on television. I'm gonna read books. You're forcing me back into the Dark Ages, reading words on papers, except psych, I won't give in. I use audiobooks because I'm a techno boy.
Well, maybe that is the real foundation. The motion picture industry is foundation.
I thought you were going to say
the end of modern entertainment.
Foundation of the good guys.
I thought you were saying
Empire is the bad guys, David.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I thought you were saying that the foundation is the audiobooks inside us all along, or something.
Yes. Foundation was the audiobooks we made along the way.
There you go.
All right, bye.
Bye.
See you guys.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is
right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.